Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
Oh man, Jesus. There's so much to do today, so much. We have so much to cover today. There's so much to cover. I'm never, ever going to be able to cover everything. I mean, I might have to go and do 2 shows. This is going to go well beyond my 3 hours, right? This is going to be good. I'm conflicted, live from Reno, Nevada. This is the Rational Male from my secret underground bunker deep in the Nevada desert, somewhere between Reno and Ely. Big shout out to my fans in Ely. Or Susanville up in California. Border town. There we go. Oh. Yeah. Boy, today's going to get busy, guys. Today's going to get very busy. We better get started. Time to get started.
How is loyalty different between men and women? Well, one is about as loyal as another, though to different things. The thing to understand about women's loyalty that men often fail to appreciate is that women are loyal to their feelings. For instance, if a woman is completely in love with a guy, if she is 11 out of 10 attracted to him, then her loyalty is impressive indeed, and she will remain loyal as long as those feelings remain in her heart. A woman who is extremely attracted to a man will move across the world for him, will change her religion for him, will break with her family for him, will lie, cheat, and steal for him, and will help bury the body with him if necessary. A woman at that level of attraction is ride or die, and she will do absolutely crazy, irrational, and life-altering things for a man to keep him in her life. It's both impressive and terrifying how loyal a woman can be under the right conditions.
The entertainment world, isn't it just time? Isn't it just time for women to run the planet? I'm not just trying to placate you, I swear. But I don't know what else to do because we, men, we've been running the show since what, 10,000 BC? Something like that?
Monogamy.
And we're not doing so good. So, please, can you guys just take over?
Don't chase booty.
And I went to prison for 5 years. When I got out of prison in 2003, I paid child support from that day until just February of last year when I lost my job.
Only because they garnished your wages.
Absolutely, that's what they do. And I actually asked my public defender, where's the proof? I've yet to see proof that the child's mine.
Mr. Manser, you are not
Oh, God.
his father.
Oh, man.
I'm a whore.
5 years in prison. Dylan, I'm sorry, bro. This is why. This is why I did what I did.
But this is nothing I made up. The lab did
You
it.
made it all up.
No, I did not.
Well, those results
I
apparently
don't know
are made
any
up.
of those people on that form.
Oh, my God.
This is clearly the most shocking
Very much.
news we've ever gotten in this courtroom.
Oh, my God. She should be convicted of some crime.
No, I should not. I did
That
not.
is fraud.
Mr. Miss Sear, do you know?
It's just a ghost tale.
You know who his father is.
Yes, I talk to him still.
You cannot stand there and really suggest that you cannot comprehend why this man would not have any type of ill feeling, frustration, or regret as it relates to anything involving you. 5 years in prison. And then I say, do you know who your son's father is? And you say, yes, I'm still in touch with him. That is a really huge pill to swallow.
When I returned home from work, I found that my house was empty of furniture and clothes. My family was gone, my dog was gone, our bank accounts were emptied of tens of thousands of dollars. My wife had run away without any warning or explanation, and like Kevin McAllister's experience in the movie Home Alone, my family simply disappeared. She hasn't spoken to me since, but after years of fighting in court and through state agencies, I now have my children every other week, and while everything may look okay now, it did not come easy. Despite having taken all of our money, I learned that my wife was using a legal aid service funded by public and private grants to zealously represent her while attempting to steal away my entire life, and made multiple attempts to restrain me from my own children and my home. There was no domestic violence. My point is that services paid for with our tax dollars were weaponized against me, and in my story, this was only the beginning. Also worth mentioning, the legislation that one thinks would protect people from false allegations of domestic violence, the supposed third-degree felony, it's completely unenforceable, leaving the targeted parent to defend himself from the indefensible, blindsided, without similar legal support from public grants, and immediately assumed to be guilty before proven innocent. Today, I'm an advocate. I've experienced firsthand how unwilling the family law system is to demonstrate flexibility, schedule timely hearings, enforce orders, return phone calls, or otherwise share communication to share agency policies, and to seek clarity or correct misunderstandings. It is now a world in which, to these agencies, a family is worth more financially in conflict than in harmony.
Some of the things you were told about men while growing up.
Don't trust them. Yeah, I agree with that one. That they better open the door for you. Open the door, treat you right, be polite.
Do you prefer a man who is a gentleman or a bad boy?
Bad boy. Bad boy.
Is it fair to say women lust after bad boys but want to settle down with nice guys?
Right. Yeah.
I used to prefer bad boy, now gentleman all the way.
What do you find most attractive about a man, and more importantly, how has that changed throughout your life?
Now his heart and how he portrays himself to be a good citizen to society and just be a good person, morals. Before, it was more of cat and mouse, kind of them chasing me, and that was fun because it was all just games.
Term one-night stand sequential relationship types. Okay, who are they? Psychopathic, narcissistic, Machiavellian, and sadistic.
All one-night stand people?
The definition of a psychopath is someone who uses someone for short-term gratification. So it's definition. And then you might say, well, I'm not like that. I just like sex. It's like, yeah, but if you practice that for 5 years, you're not going to become what you practice.
Oh, he gets really, really angry in that one too. God, that was great.
Society as a group decides that a woman is a woman with 2 X chromosomes exclusively, it's still not very functional in a society if you've got Megan Fox walking around hiding her dick super well.
It is actually useful.
That is true.
So here's the truth. The truth is that society didn't have any problems with this. Society's never had any problems with this. Nobody was ever confused about who was a man and who was a woman, ever. It never came up, ever. We really didn't have this problem. It was not a problem. You go back and read books in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. They're not talking about this. You read books from the 1800s, not talking. They don't care. Okay? It was not a problem inside of society. To know who was a female and who was a male, never been a problem. What has happened is special interest groups have moved in to the social sciences and have begun to fund studies and have begun to push an agenda in order to make this definition now get pushed out into the ethos. But you know what? We really shouldn't have done that, and they don't have the authority to make that choice for other people.
So
some research even showing that if women chose their partners when they're on hormonal birth control and then discontinue it, that this can lead to changes in how they perceive and how attracted they are to their partner.
Galugi, is that you?
Chloe Vander Fleming?
Wow.
Wow.
It's good to see.
I had a crush on you in high school.
Yeah, but now you were good looking.
What are you doing for a living?
I am a New York executive and I am having it all.
Okay.
What are you doing for a living?
I chop down trees for people's Christmas living rooms.
Oh, so you have no money. He is broke.
No, he isn't.
What?
He invented the internet.
Wow, now I am attracted to him. I came to chop trees with you. I'm even wearing gloves.
Wow, you've shown me that you're not just a cold, calculating, materialistic New York girl. You've showed me that you know that love is all that matters.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, Chloe, look in your jacket pocket. It's a surprise.
A wedding ring. Of course, Steve, I will marry you.
Great. Hey, Chloe, I have a confession. I am rich.
Hello there, children. How's it going?
I had to throw that one in there. It's Christmas time, right? We got to throw a little bit of Christmas cheer in that one. Oh man, how we doing? How we doing today? Oh my goodness, today is going to be quite an adventure for all of us. Everyone involved. I'm glad you're along for the ride today. Yes, I have actually changed the guitar out in the back. Sorry. Yeah, it's time to put the BC Rich downstairs. So, yeah, did you like that? That was pretty good. I was entertained by that. I thought that was pretty good. Because all those Christmas movies like follow along with that. Like there's what was it? Was it last year or the year before? It was Feliz Navidad, Navidad, DAD. Oh my God, it's like exactly that same plot line there. So, boy, do we have a lot of things to talk about today. Well, I think the number one, I've got three. Well, actually, I should say I got four things to really cover today. Before I do get started, though, I'm going to apologize in advance because I know that I'm going to end up having to reboot the stream at some point because, well, StreamYard is still working on our issues. And I'm by our, I mean like myself, Thor, Red Pill Thor. I know, was it Tiffany from All In With Tiff is dealing with the same thing. So it's all on our side of it. It's not on the users or the viewer side right now. So I might have to, after like, if the videos end up crashing the stream, don't worry, I'll be right back. I'll have to restart, reboot. So, but that's the way it goes. Yeah, I know, right? God damn it. And it's pissing me off because otherwise I love StreamYard. I've been with StreamYard since like the beta version of StreamYard since like 2018, I think is when they came in. It's when, what is it? The meetups or something like that or the Hangouts on YouTube. They decided to like discontinue that on you for whatever reason. And then I was looking for a better like panel show kind of software, and it just happened to come up at the right time. And that was back when it wasn't like they've recently sold the company to somebody else. And I mean, it's still a good platform. I like it, but it's hit or miss these days, unfortunately. So I am doing some new things in the studio today because I am like a shut-in these days because of Ned. And I'll give you the first update on Ned. My Greyhound with the broken arm as courtesy of a Rottweiler that he got into a tussle with. He's doing okay. The new plate is taken and the new he's realigned. He's got a splint on. He gets regular splint changes and bandage changes right now. But he will have to go in tomorrow for a debriding, I think is what it's called, because he still has an open wound right there because Greyhound's skin is very it's like right here on the wound. And it's very tight. If you know anything about Greyhounds, they don't have a lot of skin in the first place. So we can't really even sew it up until it kind of fills in a little bit better. So that's what he's going in for tomorrow. That's the update on Ned. He's still doing okay. He's in good spirits. He's eating like a horse. He's putting on weight too. And he's doing pretty well. So, but that also means that I sit down next to him in the living room or in the other studio down there, and I just sit on my laptop. So I'm writing like a demon these days. Anyway, so that's the update on Ned. He's doing good so far, so good. We just need to close him up. So if we can find some way to close him up, would be great. So there you go. That's the update on Ned. So, gosh, where do we even begin today? I'm going to get into a few topics. Number one is going to be, of course, Destiny Melina. That's the news of the day. I have been conflicted about how to approach this whole thing with Destiny Melina. I really am. And I know that sounds like me being facetious or me being like, oh, he's trying to be magnanimous. He's trying to, like extend an olive branch. No, trust me, I am in no way extending an olive branch. But do I choose violence today, or do I try to like measure my words? Before I get into anything regarding polyamory, before I get into anything about open relationships or open on his end, closed on her end, all that good stuff, everything that I've been talking about for God knows how long, I want to put an asterisk right here. And the asterisk is this: I reserve the right to be wrong about this. Okay. Because one thing I've learned about Destiny over the last like 2 year and a half, is he plays the long con. He's one of these guys who is disingenuous, like is calculating in his disingenuousness. So a lot of people are saying, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to go after it? You sure you want to go, poke the bear kind of thing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fucking poke the bear, especially with all the bullshit that happened in July and August with Lauren Southern and himself and Brittany Venti. You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. I'm going to poke the bear. However, could this be a long con? Yes, it absolutely could be. We live in an age right now where Adam 22 goes off and wants to whore out his wife she's going to go do the movie anyways, but it's a long con and it's engagement media. And the way that a big meta scale con like that goes, how that proceeds is usually you've got an event. And that event has to be promoted and hyped up, and everything has to sort of build up to that one climactic. Sorry, pun intended. That climactic moment, right? You could say the same thing about Logan Paul. I've made the case with Logan Paul and his fiance and the fight that went on with Dylan. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Thank you very much for throwing that one, reminding me of that. I thought it was interesting when you have Adam 22 essentially saying, I'm going to allow my wife to go and fuck a guy in a porn movie, even though they basically have a show where they interview women and then have sex with them right then and there. That's a podcast for you. I guess at No Jumper or wherever they do it. And so what happens is other people start talking about it. It's the long con, C-O-N, not con. But it's we're going to have this thing. We're going to build up this hype. It's almost like Wag the Dog kind of thing. If you ever saw that movie way back in the day, it's the people who are involved in the event are the ones who are creating the hype and creating the controversy about that event. And really that's kind of, I think, the meta scale engagement media. And I was on, it was on Lana's show. I was on Laughing with Lana. And one of the things that she brought up, and I agree with her on this, is that if you're looking at engagement media right now, what I'm doing with you guys right now, I'm looking at I got another, if I ever look this way, it's because I got another monitor here so I can monitor the chat. But it's engagement media. And I learned this doing Dr. Phil's show. Dr. Phil's show, the reason why it's canceled is because no one cares about it. You cannot engage in it. You can't feel like you can't put in a super chat. By the way, I'll be answering super chats today too. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to go $10 and up. I'll make it easy on you guys. $20 gets you a Ned shout out, but $10 and up is what I'll go for. Anyways, that said, being able to talk to you guys, being able to have you guys sort of throw in, like, say, for instance, like this, I can throw this up on the screen. That's engagement media. Okay. Engagement media, it means that you're breaking down that sort of fourth wall from between the talking head, which is me right now, and you guys. So you guys get to decide where you want to, if you guys want to chime in. For example, people monetizing their lives publicly and then saying they talk about their private matters is one of the worst grifts ever. Oh yeah. You mean like Hunter Avallone? So yes, the idea is that really the commercial television is a dinosaur and it's dying right now because it's too controlled. There's no way that anyone can have sort of any kind of say in the narrative, in the discussion, in the course of the discussion. Whereas right now, you guys in the chat right now can alter the course of this show if you really wanted to. With the give me a high enough super chat, I will definitely read it, and maybe we can start talking about that. But that's the idea, and I think that's one of the appeals of, say, like live stream media right now. It's engagement media, but it's not the only engagement media. Okay, OnlyFans is also an engagement media. Because if you have enough simps and you have enough pay pigs and you have enough, tips and whatever, I don't have OnlyFans. I haven't started my foot fetish, my foot porn OnlyFans yet. All of everybody's encouraging me to do it. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not serious. But that's a form of engagement media. The people who are watching the girls are engaging with them, and they at least get the sense that if they paid enough money or if they paid enough attention, or that guy who was just, I think it was Myron and Fresh were talking about this guy who paid like a shit ton of money for some celebrity OnlyFans girl. I can't even remember. I don't keep up. I'm Aaron Clary in that instance. I don't keep up with that stuff. But the fact of the matter is the only reason that makes the news is because that's engagement media. that's isolated to just one channel, like my channel, Tim Pool's channel, Martin and Fresh, whatever podcast, Access Vegas, all this, those are all isolated and separate. But the thing is that the genius in, say, something like Adam 22's, rigging of his wife's first porn movie was a springboard into the reality TV show kind of thing that they're doing right now, where you got like, God knows, it's like The Bachelorette, but instead of getting the rose and, getting the date at the end, it's like, who gets to bang my wife? Which, by the way, bravo. I mean, you got to respect the hustle in that. I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world. I'm not endorsing this, but I got to admire the pitch. That you want to know who is a consummate marketeer? Adam 22. Bravo, my friend. But, it's a meta engagement media. What do I mean by that? It means that it's not just his channel that is tossing this stuff out there. It's everybody else is talking about it. Everyone was talking. Hell, I talked about it on the green room with Domo when that was going down. Porn star Team Domo. Team Domo. But we talked about it on Access Face Show. We still talk about it now and then. But everyone wanted to get in on it. Even Andrew Tate talked about it on Tucker Carlson. And you can't pay for that kind of exposure. So once you get the ball rolling, other people's engagement media takes over, does all the heavy lifting for you. So that was then, of course, what Jesus Christ, dude, really? Come on now. As much as I love you for calling Pearl a hack, you do not get to impersonate me. I will personally ban you. But the shtick, like the meta grift, I don't want to call it a grift, but the meta engagement media. You had people coming out of the woodwork on the TradCon side. You had a lot of people, like even on Daily Wire, talking about, I can't believe that anyone would allow their wife to get fucked on camera and then have a problem with it, right? And of course, who's the first interview that Adam 22 has with, when he suddenly starts to having a problem with another man banging his wife? Well, he just happened to have Destiny in on that particular day. So the world's most notorious cuckold happens to be in studio. I know, because I was there too. I was in that same fucking day. So, and you know who else was there? Sneeko was there, as well as John MLD was there on the same. All of us on the same day. It was eerily coincidental, just to put not to say put it too lightly. So that didn't seem to me as if it was something that wasn't planned. And so then there was the buildup, and then there was the controversy. He was going back and forth with Jason Love, who's the guy that banged his wife. And really what it comes down to is everyone started talking about it, and everybody started using their engagement. And me too, mea culpa. I started talking about it too. I admit. And they started talking about it, and the event happened. Everybody, hell, even DJ Academics had a watch party for the movie, right? I mean, that's where it got up to. And really, I'm kind of concerned. I hate to even have to think about this, but like I said, I'm giving you the preamble to the Destiny situation right now. That I have to worry about that, or I have to be concerned about that, because Destiny is a guy who will go to great lengths to try to find some way to manufacture shit. If he can't find dirt on you, he will manufacture dirt on you. And anybody who's worked with him, or anybody who knows him, he's sort of behind the scenes, will tell you exactly the same thing, because usually they're in collusion with those guys. I will give him this. He has an army of spurgs. His Reddit. By the way, yes, I get your alerts for Destiny's with DGG, something like that. I get the alerts for your Reddit. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you can stop sending them now. But when I see stuff like that, and I see what just sort of this, it's, people want to say, oh, the red pill's a cult of personality, or it's a micro cult or something like that. Not even close to the level of dedication, the Spurg-like autistic level of dedication that Destiny's followers have. And I think they're really kind of struggling with this and twisting in the wind with trying to sort of, I don't know, maybe it's cognitive dissonance or something, but they're really trying to struggle with the fact that he's not what he said he was. At least in this sense, right? And I'm watching these guys just sort of have this internal conversation with themselves. I'm almost more fascinated by his followers than I am with Destiny. Like, at least I can predict what Destiny's going to talk about, right? But his followers are the ones that I really have to I don't know, wring my hands over, but I really have to keep an eye on, because it's like, what are these guys going to do? At what point do people go, you know what, maybe he's really full of shit. I'm going to talk about the situation. If you don't know about that, oh yeah, don't worry. Jack Murphy's name will be brought up in this podcast today. So I'm going to get into Destiny. I'm also going to get into what happened with Hunter Avallone just briefly. I really wanted to go into a little bit more depth than that, but it would require me showing the video of the quote unquote the self-deletion by shotgun. And I am not going to put that on YouTube because I know I will get banned for something like that. That's definitely a violence violation, and I'm not going to put that up. Heck, I can't even show fight video. I got a, was it 18? I got an 18 and up strike for putting up the Zerka fight with HS Tiki Taki. Not only did I get the violence, I had to be 18 and up, but not only did I get that, but I also got copyright hits from the guys who owned that video. Like, it was almost immediate when I put that. You would think that they would want some sort of like publicity, right? Engagement media, but nope. So when Zerka goes head to head with HS Tiki Taki, you only get to see it one place. I mean, you know what, guys? Here's a better idea. Next time you pull some bullshit, like some staged ass bullshit like that, put it on like pay-per-view. Really, you'll make more money that way. You won't have to run down all the copyright strikes that you're gonna have to. So, but anyways, the thing with Hunter Avallone, just briefly, because I see Tori is in the chat right now. Hunter Avallone, if you don't know who Hunter Avallone is, he's another one of these Twitch kids who just started coming up this year. I really didn't even know who he was until I think it was 2022. He was on with Jedediah Bila. And he started coming after me on Jedediah Bila's show. I'm like, who am I to this motherfucker, right? And so I looked him up and I checked him out, and I go, oh, okay, it's another Twitch kid. It's another Sneeko. It's another, what's his name? Jack Donahue or something like that. Is that what his name is? That guy. It's like these guys who either get banned off of Twitch, or they see all their friends on Twitch coming over to YouTube space, and then they want to try to pull some shit as well. So when I see this kind of stuff, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit. But with Hunter Avallone, there was a time he wanted to debate me, and I was like, "What's to debate, man?" Simply didn't get it. Got divorced. Black dude ended up cheating on him, or cheating with his wife on Hunter, and that really blew shit up back then. And apparently, between the divorce and a couple days ago, Hunter picked up a new girlfriend, and apparently from the video that I can see, I'm still sussing this out. Maybe I'm being a bit premature with this, but from what I could see is there was an ex-lover, an ex-boyfriend that was involved. Like the new girlfriend had an old boyfriend who just simply couldn't live without her. And I mean that literally, couldn't live without her. And, apparently shot through with a shotgun, shot through the door. Was it through the door or something? Anyways, all I saw was like she got clipped on her like I think right shin, and there was a lot of blood involved. That's another reason I'm not putting it on my show. But then the guy self-deleted with the shotgun right after that, and so that's kind of a big deal. Clear. I mean, there's a lot of red pill lessons. You want some let's see, some nutritional value in this. I mean, that's simply red meat, literally red meat, for a show. But the guy, I mean, it's another shining example of why you need to kill the beta, or the beta kills you before it kills you, right? And so you've got Hunter Avallone, who is a walking example of like so many different red pill lessons, and yet is completely oblivious to it and is completely anti-red pill. And I'm wondering if he hasn't changed his opinion these days. Oh, is Big Mo in the chat? He is in the chat. Here you go, Big Mo.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
I already used that once. So that's the Hunter Avallone. That's the breakdown of that. I want to also talk about the new DHS / Homeland. That's Department of Homeland Security. Apparently, I'm a very bad man. I'm a dangerous man. There you go.
Say my name.
Yes, they won't say my name because I'm on the DHS like no-fly list now, or whatever it is. that's sort of, it's funny. I thought I was going to do today's show about that. I was just going to exclusively have it just be nothing but the connection between the DHS and all these NGOs that are trying to paint the manosphere and the INCEL sphere, or the red pill sphere, or whatever the fuck we're calling it right now, as being as dangerous as organizations like ISIS. And there's a lot of skullduggery. Well, there's a word for you. Going on behind the scenes with all of this. And this was brought to my attention, as I said, about a month ago, maybe more than that, maybe two months ago, by Bex. And I'll explain to you who Bex is. But apparently we now have a smoking gun as close to a smoking gun as we can probably have with the INCEL study that was done by William Costello. There's a whole structure and architecture that I'm going to get into that comes in behind that. But we made the news, guys. I was going to put this on the show as well, but I have to be diplomatic here. If you want the link to this, I'll be happy to supply it to you. It's already on Twitter, but apparently we made the InfoWars. We made the InfoWars news, a news snippet of some sort. Basically outing the $700,000 grant money that was given to some of these organizations to come up with ways to combat the rising threat, INCEL threat to, national security. And I will get into the details of that coming up in probably like an hour or two. And apparently, if you've been watching if you've been reading my Instagram, or if you're following me on Twitter, and I don't know why you wouldn't, I'm at the top of that list by name. And I'm like, well, where did I come from? Right. But apparently I am a very dangerous man, and I'm just waiting for FBI, open up! I'm waiting for the FBI to knock on my, I'm joking, but I'm kind of not joking. Yeah. Alex Jones is a threat to national security. You know what's funny is I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you too, which is why I thought it was like the height of entertainment when I saw that we got a clip where we got a good like minute and a half, 2 minutes on Alex Jones, just sort of the round table of going around the horn for all the news that was going on. But apparently I am a very dangerous man, according to the DHS and these watchdog organizations, which we'll get into in just a bit. And then last but not least, I wanted to also talk a little bit about Louise Perry and Chris Williamson. I thought the interview between the two of them could be, that'll be the educational part of today's show. There won't be all red meat. I'm going to actually get into some more educational stuff, because apparently Chris Williamson will talk to everyone else on planet Earth except for the most dangerous man alive. There.
Say my name.
When it comes to national security, maybe that's why he's been avoiding me for so long. But he had Louise Perry on there, who is going around, infamous feminist or prior feminist, reformed feminist. Is that the prodigal son narrative? Making the rounds, talking about how bad the sexual revolution really was for women. Tough again, right? I love it how it's another shining example of how even like wokesies and leftists and feminists can still make money and still get clout and still get engagement by acknowledging the fact that, oh, boys are really doing horrible these days. We need to do something about it. We really need to, get more fathers in the home or some shit, right? Like even like guys like Richard Reeves from the Brookings Institute, right? Who I have quite a bit of respect for. Hey, the analysis is spot on. The diagnosis, great. The cure sucks. The cure is just more pablum. It's just more nonsense, right? And again, I think it's more because they don't know really male and female nature. It's really, they're approaching the solutions. Both Louise Perry and Richard Reeves approach the quote unquote solutions to the problem of, the crisis of masculinity. The solutions end up being based in social constructionism, which is the only song that they know how to play. So I'm gonna dig into that a little bit later. I'm trying to give you guys the build up here, so you know which one where you want to go when I finally get the time cues and put it to the show. So there is that, and then also last but not least, and I'm just gonna kick it off with this is I just did a show with Marquette on Saint and Sinner. What the hell's his last name? Marquette. Anyways, you know who he is. Saint and Sinner podcast. It was really good. It was I enjoyed myself. I thought it was fun. I've been on a few of these podcasts that I wouldn't necessarily say yes to, but Marquette is a longtime friend. I think a lot of people thought he was calling me out because like he's one of these guys who will make videos and he'll like set the video for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. In some cases, even more than that, right? I think he has a 4th of July video for 2024 that's like, you wait until 4th of July to see it. I don't know what the logic is behind that, but anyways, very much a planner, let's just say. And so I think a lot of people like, I didn't even realize he was trying to call me out or anything like that. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I know you, Marquette. I mean, he's been at Red One Studios. He has been on the show with Justin Waller, Miguel Munoz, Aaron Clary, for Christ's sake, Myron Gaines. I know Marquette. I have followed Saint and Sinner for probably a year and a half, 2 years now. And because I enjoyed his stuff, I think I found out about him through Myron and Fresh and followed him up to this day. Now, I like him very much, especially as a person. I think he's a great dude. I would very much like to do a live show with him down in Vegas because I know he fluctuates between Thailand, Vietnam. I know he's in like Southeast Asia somewhere. And then he fluctuates between there and Las Vegas, of all places. So next time he's in Vegas, or if he's still in Vegas, when I happen to get out there, I would very much like to get on with him. Big Mo, kayfabe. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what it was really about. Thank you for bringing that up. What is kayfabe? Like a lot of people don't even know what that is. I don't even think Marquette knew what kayfabe was. Kayfabe is just like a word that's given to sort of a never break character. It's a professional wrestling term. If you are familiar with any of that, so you don't have to be really like the Undertaker really doesn't have like some like personal beef with Macho Man Randy Savage or whatever. Like they don't have, but there's this expectation that they will. And so because of that, because of the want and the desire of their fan base to really want to see their sort of like this, shit talking back and forth, that's part of the kayfabe. And then they get together, they set it up, and nobody's really getting hurt and nobody really hates each other. It's just that they're doing that just to stoke, interest in the next upcoming, professional wrestling match. And really that's kind of can be, I think applied to a lot of different venues or a lot of different, niches to say, but it's also because, it's also because, it works. It plays out. So if it's like, if I have Marquette saying, "Oh, Rollo, challenge has been issued to Rollo Tomasi to come and meet me in the, open combat, at 4 p.m. Pacific time on December 8th, right? It's a really good show. It was fun. We had a really good time, and I think he did anyways. And it kind of went the way that I thought it would. Marquette is and don't take this the wrong way. This is not a flame, but Marquette is like a preacher. And I would say that about Alan Roger Curry. I would say that about Kevin Samuels. I would say that about a lot of people. And I've always said this is that like there's a lot of guys who get into this space who probably would have made really good like Baptist ministers, but because of their delivery style, it's usually highs and lows and highs and lows, and it's like that variation of tone. I think Tori was saying something about that. It's the delivery, and I think that a lot of these guys sort of miss their calling in some like in another era. They probably would make really good Baptist or Presbyterian ministers, like fire and brimstone, and but I think, because of the age that we live in today, I think that delivery still is effective. It's just that, it comes down to believers versus empiricists. And again, it's like trying to explain, like we end up talking, and not necessarily me and Marquette, but like we end up talking past one another because you have people who are more interested in, well, what are we going to do with this? How is this useful? Blah, blah, blah. I can tell you how it's useful, but if your solution to every problem is stop being a little bitch, If that's your solution, then if that's what your revenue is built on, I'm not saying that's him, because I know a lot of other people are like that. But if it's all about a pep rally, if it's all about, pick yourself up and dust yourself off and, bootstrap, then like I just turned into Mr. Wizard at that time. And I've experienced that quite a bit. I think the first time I really realized that I was on Myron and Fresh's show when I was there with Hotep Jesus. I think it was the second, it was the second time I was on with Hotep Jesus, and it was myself and Hotep, and then we were on with the girls, and I can give like these really detailed answers. Like, here's why, let me tell you about hypergamy, and let me tell you about like, intersexual dynamics and alpha fucks, beta bucks, blah, blah. And I can go into like the evolutionary biology, sociology, all this other stuff and give you like the breakdowns of it. But then I'm speaking a different language. I'm speaking the language of empiricism. And then you got Hotep Jesus, who knows all the stuff that I'm talking about. He's very well versed in pretty much all my books and everything else. But man, the chicks just melt for fucking Hotep Jesus, right? Because he speaks the language of emotionalism. So it's like, oh, we're vibing together. Like vibing is what, when we don't have a word to describe like what's actually going on, which is this sort of connection between two complementary personalities, we call that vibing. Like, oh, I'm getting an emotional association. I'm getting an emotional rush from talking to this guy. The vibing. When we don't know what to call something, it's magic. It's pixie dust. It's like, it's Brazilian power crystals and, shining rays. Was it gamma radiation? Is what we end up referring to it as. And so, but people need that. And I don't say they're not coddled, but they need that. They need imagination. They need to have the data sugar coated for them. And I try to explain this to Marquette as well, as like, you can't really tell people data without telling them how to feel about that data, because most people speak the language of emotionalism. They just don't know anything different. And then the people who are more empirical, who are more based in like objective truth rather than like metaphorical truth. And I'm not saying one's bad or, well, objective truth is good, right? But I'm just saying that the delivery is really what I think people have issue with. And one thing I didn't get out, and I'll stop after this. One thing I didn't get out of my mouth when I was talking to Marquette was there was a point where I think it was after we had done the interview. It was myself, Glenn Lawrence, John Zerka, and Mike Sartain. And we just did this impromptu like live stream, and we were talking and just shooting the shit. Honestly, we made Zerka late for his flight, but we were talking at Red One Studios, and we were going back and forth. And then right after that conversation, when we were done, when we turned the cameras off and everything else, that's when you sort of get to know who John Zerka really is. And John was like saying, you know what, you need to write, hey bro, you need to write a book called The Rational Teenager. What the fuck is this guy talking about? And he was like, yeah, you need to, because the kids today nobody reads. And that was one thing that Marquette said is nobody reads. Well, I disagree. I think a lot of people read more than you probably would like to, but maybe not. Your audience doesn't read. Perhaps most of my audience doesn't read, but there is definitely like the reason why I started my Substack is because people read, trust me, but maybe not. I mean, the people who have the interest end up reading. And when I meet readers all the time, when I meet people on the street, when I just out of the blue, somebody recognizes me in Costco or something and they want me to sign their book, or I'm, happen to be at a convention, or I'm giving a talk or something like that. And people come up to me with a book, and I look at their book, and I look at the Rational Male book that they have, and it's highlighted in like 3 different colors of highlight. And it's underlined in certain areas, and there's like liner notes and stuff. I need to make a bigger format so people can write notes. And it's all doggered and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, people do read. People will read. But if they have the interest, if they're really kind of, if they're cut from that cloth, I guess. But John Zerka comes up to me and he says, Rollo, you need to write a rational teenager. I'm like, why? He's like, because that's what they need, because the kids don't read. The kids don't, you need a TikTok version of the Rational Male. And I'm like every fiber in my being is like, get the fuck out of here. But he's not wrong. And maybe that's why it rubbed me the wrong way. Is like, he's not wrong. Like the TLDR generation, the ADHD generation. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, exactly. He's fucking right. And I hate that he's fucking right. because that it would be much more accessible. And yeah, people will read. Thank you, Sam, thanks for putting up that. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Sam, of course, is the voice of the rational male. Yeah, thank you. And God damn it. See, this is why I love you guys. See? Wait, here you go.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, and of the people that I know who are part of like even not even my Discord stuff, not even part of like the Red Pill Lion stuff, not even part of the Fresh and Fit Discord servers. Like, there's so many people who I've met that really have a am I getting a hum? I'm getting this nasty ass hum. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it is. Thank you for that. Yes, it is, but it's also, I mean, it could also be a clinical problem as well, I suppose. So okay, now it's gone. Gosh, why did I get a 60 cycle hum? That's weird. You guys can't hear this, but I can. It's in my head. I got some video to cover today, but anyways, getting back to the point here is I could dumb it down, but I feel like I should. And I think the fact that, that I think one of the points that Marquette made was like, the red pill needs a leader. That needs to be useful. We need to have people like to step up and like tell us what to, please, Rollo, tell us how to live. And I've always resisted that. I've always resisted trying to be sort of like this guy who's like this. I don't want to be a guru. I've never wanted to be a guru. People will call me that. Oh, he's the godfather of the manosphere. I never call myself the godfather, by the way. I'm happy you guys do. I'm good with it. I rolled with it. But it was Pat Campbell who gave me that title, not me. I wasn't self-appointed. But because I've always resisted that, because I rely on the intelligence and the free will, let's just say, of the people who are my readers and who are my watchers or my people who follow me, whatever on my shows or wherever I go. I would not insult your intelligence by trying to give you 12 rules for life or 12 more rules for life. Because if you're living someone else's 12 rules, are you really living your life? I don't think so. And as I've said before, I'm not in the business of making men better men or women better women for that matter. I'm in the business of equipping and educating and giving guys the accurate information so that they can make their lives better for themselves. And I try to put this in black and white. I try to say, look, I'm a 55-year-old white guy who grew up in Pasadena, California and Huntington Beach, and which the accent comes out every now and then. And I lived in the North American landmass. And I'm not going to go and say, okay, well, here's 12 rules for life, and this is going to work for everybody on planet Earth, including the poor kid in Mumbai or Calcutta or wherever. Right? I'm not going to insult you or insult my own self by putting that out there. So, yes, does there have to be sort of an outline? Does there have to be like dots connect? Absolutely. But I would much rather people take that information and make themselves better as a result of that. And I don't think that it's something that I think sort of our modern perception of red pill right now, it really gets enough credit for. It's not that I'm not looking for, hey, pat me on the back. Great. Have me on your show. Fine. But what I want to see is I want to see guys who have testimonies and say, hey, here's what happened. Here's how the rational male changed me. Here's how having access to accurate information made me not want to self-delete. And that was really my point in the early days, is to, get accurate information out there. And if it saved a life, so much the better. And I have threads and I have personal notes and I have people who hit me up I can't go a day without having like half a dozen people hit me up and say, Rollo, you always ask about, show your work, or, tell me what happened. And they'll give me they pour their hearts into these emails and these, DMs and stuff like that. And I'm glad for it. Like, I wish I could in some way capture the moment, right? The feeling, I guess, when I was sitting on the couch at Fresh and Fit's their new studios in a different building. It's in a different high rise now in Miami. And I was sitting there with Icy, and I was just sitting on the couch. We were waiting for some chick that was supposed to be, she was late, of course, for the after hour show. And we're sitting around there. We're just, sort of catching up because I love Icy. Icy's my girl. And just out of the blue, this guy like walks up to me, and I guess he was a resident of the building. And he just says, "Hey, I just want to shake your hand." I was like, "Oh," and because like he recognized who I was. He says, "You saved my life. You saved my life, and I just wanted to tell you right now." And like it's just me and Icy right there in that moment, and Icy's like almost at tears, and like almost comes to tears. I'm like, "No, it's okay," but that if I can capture that somehow. And then say, look, this is why the DHS study is full of shit. This is why these motherfuckers that keep coming after incels are wanting to paint the red pill as the black pill, or these fuckers whose financial interests, these government-supported financial, NGO interests are an obstacle. They're an impediment to that fucking moment right there. They're blocking it. You're obfuscating it. You're an obstacle to that. And you're making money off of it. I love it. I absolutely fucking love this. And maybe I don't. I'm being sarcastic. But I hate this when people will say, well, Rollo's just interested in selling books. He's just pandering to insecure guys who don't know what to do with themselves. He's taking money from impressionable, vulnerable young men who don't know what to do with themselves. Like, I wrote a book 10 fucking years ago, man. Like I'm here and I'm happy to answer questions. I bend over backwards. Hell, man, I lose money half the time going and talking to people because I want to, I wish I could help more, right? But that moment when I'm sitting there with Icy on the couch and I have somebody just out of the blue come up to me and say, "Hey man, you saved my life." It's hard for me because it's like most of the time people go, "Fuck you, Rollo, I hope you die." And then I have like you get 10 of those, and then you get one of the guys who says, "Hey, you really saved my life." It's a roller coaster. But the long and the short of this is that I don't think that what the red pill actually is and the utility that it has is really appreciated these days. And I'm not looking for, pats on my own back. I'm looking for people I'm looking for like accolade. I'm looking for acknowledgement, let's just say, of the benefits that the red pill, such as it is, the way about intersexual dynamics, has benefited men and women, by the way. I've had women hit me up and say after they saw a bit where me and Mike Sartain are doing the delusional women's delusions calculator, that they had a new appreciation for their husbands after watching that segment on Access Vegas. And so like that, like these little teeny tiny victories, and I'm the only one that sees this shit happen. But then yet I've got to go and deal with the DHS, and I got to go deal with these NGOs, and I got to deal with people like, who it's in their best interest to like try to sensationalize the negative aspects of what they think is happening in the red pill. And it's like, no, there's a lot of positivity that goes along with it too. And I think it goes underreported. So I've said this, and I'll leave it at this, is I think that the red pill is like fire. Okay. You can warm your house with it, and you can cook your food with it, or you can take it to burn your neighbor's house down, or you can like burn your own house down, or you can take it and just go on a murderous rampage with fire. But that's really what it is. It's not good or it's not bad. It's how it's applied. And if it's applied if red pill awareness is applied in a, let's say a destructive way to deal with your discontent, right? If you're discontent and you're depressed and you're nihilistic and you're whatever, I mean, yes, I want you to lift your ass up, but use this information to lift your ass up and from one state to another state. But you can absolutely use the red pill awareness to be very, very self-centered, self-depressed, and I can totally understand, totally agree with Marquette when he's talking about how it's nothing but complainers. They're nothing but complainers. Like, well, yeah, the black pill doomer ass, those guys, yeah, they are. The people who are actually making progress and having constructive conversations like the one we're having right here, that's what you don't see. That's not reported on. That doesn't make the Daily Wire's latest short clip. Brett Cooper doesn't report on the good things, the good news, on the positivity, on the utility of the red pill. Well, it has to be useful. It is fucking useful. That's just the point. But I don't have to be a cult leader to prove it to you that it's useful. All I got to do is point to all the people whose lives it has changed. So anyways, in fact, let's just put you up there right now. Project Althea. If you want to know how the red pill has helped people, I can tell you my story. You know what? If it's not too long, I would love to have your story. Just you could email it to me. That's fine. Let me get unlocked here. Let's see how many of these I get through before I start fading. Let's rock roll. Okay, thank you very much. Give us bread and circuses. Oh, you're in for it. Can you have your mods unban Nate Diaz 1863? I'm clearly a supporter and have this account because you or a mod banned me over a molehill. All right, I'll look at Sam. Look that up if you would be so kind. Thank you. Wayne, a member for 9 months. Very good. The Schadenfreude is strong with this one. Yes, it is. Read the game. Great book. I had lunch and the barkeep mentioned she's a Pisces. Oh, just like Tiffany, like Tiffany Fox, who will never cease to quit reminding us of it. I just started feeding her the chit crack about being an Aries. She mentioned her girls were 9 and 11, and I began channeling Gary V's numerology. It's not Gary V. No, you're thinking of Gary the Numbers Guy. Gary V. Does Gary V have numerology? I don't know. I think you're probably thinking of Gary the Numbers Guy. Yeah, that's fun. You know, would you like since you gave me $20, would you, here, I'm going to tell you a really funny story. If you didn't catch this, I think it was on the last Access Vegas we did I think it was in November. And I think the topic of astrology came up, and boy, as soon as I'm a Pisces, I'm a Virgo, I'm a whatever comes up, I know that for the next 15 to 20 minutes, Mike is going to just be monologuing in a good way. But I know I know it's going to, there's a few topics that give like Mike that like eye twitch. Like he just can't, he's like white knuckling it. And astrology is one of those. And there came a point in that conversation when I'm like, okay, like all the girls had gone around and gave that, I'm an Aries, I'm in this, I'm a whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, okay, ladies, if you're an expert in this and astrology and all this other stuff, you know who I am. We've been talking for the last 2 hours, whatever. And you probably know my reputation, what I'm about, yada, yada. What astrological sign do you think Rollo Tomasi is? And I waited. And every single chick at that table guessed wrong. And you know what's funny? I thought about this later. And I'm an Aries, by the way. I'm April 2nd, 1968. Thank you. That none of them got it right, which was par for the course. And I thought about this, and I go, you know what? Just like statistically, guessing. I mean, we had 10 girls at the table. How many astrological signs are there? Statistically, they should have just stumbled on it. One of them should have just figured it out, but they didn't. Oh, that was funny. Isn't Steve supposed to be a high value? Oh, you mean Steve, as in Destiny, has clout. How come Mel left him for a lesser value dude? Coming up. A dude who wears he looks like, what's his name? Harry Styles, the guy that, the guy, Melina left Destiny for Harry Styles. I mean, the guy wears dresses. He's depressed. By the way, I did this just in. I had no idea that she was actually living with the dude in Sweden. Like, dude, if your bitch says, I'm at this guy's house while I'm here in Sweden, your relationship is over. I don't care how open it is or how, secure you are in your fucking masculinity. She's living with the motherfucker. Okay. Oh man. And by the way, I shout out to Chud Logic too. I don't know if he likes me or not, but I was watching his feed about the whole Destiny dust up, the divorce hearings, a divorced thing. But yeah. Oh, thank you for the super sticker that I can't actually put up on your, but that's good. Siege, when I eventually meet Rollo and Sartain, I want Rollo to sign my Rational Male Religion book. This one. And Sartain to sign my Evolution of Desire book. Yeah, because there's no way Michael Sartain's going to be writing a book. Thank you. Yes, I'd be happy to. Do you consider your work at least somewhat responsible for the Red Pill movement? Yes, I do. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was put on the point with with Marquette. Marquette really wanted me to say, I am the godfather of the manosphere and I'm the leader and I'm going to like go forth and conquer, right? That's really what he wanted out of me. And maybe I would be a great, you're goddamn right. I'll be a great freaking cult leader. You would love me as a cult leader. You know, give your followers, what is it? It's in 48 Laws of Power. Give your followers rituals to follow. You would love the rituals I give you. I get this quite often. Even Sam Bada, who I love like a brother, dearly love like a brother, will say, man, you're doing God's work. You're God inspired. And I know that a lot of people really want to sort of place that mantle on me for, you know, just doing what I do and writing what I've written and just sticking to my guns for 22 some odd years. And I don't like being compared to a Messiah. I really don't. Because I don't think it's productive. I don't think it fosters, you know, intelligent critical thinking, really. I don't think it fosters any of that kind of stuff. And I know that people like there's what was it? Ryan Stone was saying that it was like sheep in search of a shepherd. We used to do this with whenever we were talking about Dr. Jordan Peterson. Dr. Jordan Peterson stepped into that role like that very easily. Stepped into the role of cult leader, but certainly like shepherd. Another guy who probably would have made a real maybe not a Baptist minister, but he would have been in another era. I think he probably could have been like I don't know, Church of Christ Scientists or some shit like that. Unitarian guy. I don't know, but I think just the fact that he has become so much of an icon, like Peterson has been an icon for so long. It says more about the people who follow that guy than it does about the actual man himself. And I brought this up, and this is why I avoid sort of like the messianic kind of thing, because a lot of people say he has a Messiah complex. He thinks he owns the manosphere. He thinks he started the red pill. And I didn't start the red pill. Everybody did. You guys did. Everybody did. That's why the thing is like it's decentralized. People don't realize that the red pill, like in its purest form, I guess, is a decentralized movement, and people have a really tough time wrapping their head around that. And by the way, that's one of many movements or sort of awakenings, I guess, or awarenesses that's cropped up since we've had social media and since we've had forums and since we've had blogs and since we've had video and everything else. And it's not just in intersexual dynamics, it's in other niches as well. So, but does there have to be some leader of a decentralized organization? If you look at like say Anonymous or 4chan or any of these other people, like they don't want that. And I didn't want that either, because I don't think that's constructive to the individual. Would I be a great cult leader? Fuck yeah, I would love to be a cult leader. You'll know. And when I start selling out, you'll know that I'm selling out, but I ain't selling out. But I always try to avoid the messianic thing. I tell Sam this. I said, I'm just the messenger. I'm the messenger. I'm the idiot crying in the wind, you know, calling in the wind. I'm John the Baptist. They're Rollo the Baptist. I'm just the messenger. Okay. I'm just telling you guys I just work here. And I would much rather people lift themselves up than have to have somebody tell them how to live with, 12 rules for life or 7 hot tips to have a better, 7 hot tips I stole out of the Tao Te Ching and from Marcus Aurelius. Sometimes I think these guys just basically go and copy and paste like stanzas from like the Tao Te Ching or maybe the Have 'em All or something like that. What do you say, Have 'em All? Go look it up. Havamal. There you go. My holy book. If you want to know the red pill has helped people, I can tell you my story. Oh, I got to you. Hold on. Sorry. At the gates of the gynocentric Mordor for Rollo. Thank you. Yes, follow me into the gates of hell. Sup. When it comes with guys still stuck in the anger phase, how do you nudge them to move on with their own growth? Oh, good question. You got an article or a chapter on this? Yes, I do. And I will give Ned a good belly rub for you. And I will actually I will answer your question because you suggested that. Okay, so the easiest way to sort of figure this out is I have this is in my first book, but you can also go to the essay that is on the Rational Male. and it's called the 5 stages of unplugging. There's actually 6, but the 5 stages of unplugging. One of those is the anger phase. And it's just first of all, you have to understand why you're in the anger phase to begin with. So that's number 1. And number 2 is there's another post, also a chapter in the Rational Male. It's called The Bitter Taste of the Red Pill. And I wrote that because so many people, when they are sort of disabusing themselves of the way that they used to think, their blue pill, a plugged in way of thinking, once they've disabused themselves of that, or they're open to the idea that maybe they're not playing by a rule book that everybody else is playing by, once they get to that point and they can accept that, the anger is really not at women. It's really at themselves for having believed it for so long. But how do you get around that? You accept the fact that you have, here's the good news. The good news, this is how you get past the anger phase. You realize that you now have accurate information, and accurate information that a lot of people still don't understand. And you're in a red pill you're in a red pill aware paradigm right now. That right there should be empowering for, at least the way I look at it anyways. Knowing is half the battle. What's the other half? Violence. But the knowing that and having accurate information, and knowing that even if you don't have like all the pages of the manual, right, you still have a better predictive framework than you did when you were in your blue pill, delusions. And now you can go, did I do that? Now you can go for a bigger, better thing based in a red pill paradigm, rather than trying to like make those old blue pill like idealisms become a reality. So that ends up being a much better, at least in my opinion anyways, and this is just me spitball. Okay, this is Rollo giving you an opinion here. I think that is a much better way to look at it, because you have an opportunity in the red pill. You have opportunity in red pill awareness. So Rollo, Saralita base. Rollo, I think it's a low expectation to say because people don't like to read, don't push reading on them. Yeah, right. People need to read. Other countries are reading a lot. Yes, they are. Example, Germans, where I come from, read a lot. We should do more. Yeah. And I think that like making that a habit is also something that really needs to be inculcated. There's your vocabulary where, there's you, Rollo, using them $10 words. Yeah, inculcated in the ADHD society. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready for this? Finally getting down to brass tacks here. Sorry, we're an hour in. I got to share the screen with y'all. In case you're aware, in case you haven't been following me, I don't know, for the last God knows how long. There we go. Now, if you're an influencer, and if you're on an internet, you're only famous on the internet, and mainstream media is starting to write articles about you, I know it's the Sun. Shut up. There are other ones too. This one had the best pictures. I'm sorry. Would you like to see the other ones? There's some other ones in here too. Date with Destiny. Oh, yuck, 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 yuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, here you go.
Hey, y'all.
Date with Destiny. Who is YouTuber Destiny? And who is his wife? And Twitch streamer. Is she still on Twitch? Melina Goranson, in case you've been living under a rock somewhere. Destiny is a prominent YouTube streamer and political commentator, is married to Melina Goranson. I want to start out here really quick. Actually, I'm just going to read this to you anyways. Notice there not taking the last name. No taking of the last name. No surname exchange here. I have studies that will show you that people who resist taking their spouse's last name tend to be more narcissistic. Thank you, Rolf Dingen, for that. Just putting that out there. So remember when I talk about how women resist taking their husband's surname? It's usually because they're hedging their bets. Well, let me tell you how much she hedged. Okay, so this is released from some of the exchanges here. And again, this is another reason why I'm a little suspicious as to whether this is just one big Bubba Miza, right? Here we take a look at the couple and why Destiny's divorce is trending. Okay. Destiny. Now this is from his Destiny GG forums. I have more of these that are a little bit more exclusive, but this will do for now. I'll have a small convo conversation when I'm back about things, but because he was in LA doing, or he's in Santa Barbara doing whatever podcast. I'm not going to nuke Melina or anything, but the last 2 months and 2 weeks have been a massive mind fuck for me. Watching her become obsessed with a toxic, abusive guy. When I visited Sweden last, he gave Mel an ultimatum to divorce me and then threatened to off himself when she didn't do it. When she didn't do it, among 20 other abusive, manipulative things he's done, and endlessly makes excuses for him. So I'm out. It sounds like she's been out for a while because I have new information. Who is YouTuber Destiny? Okay, this is where I wanted to. The reason, here's why I'm reading this. Okay, Stephen Kenneth Bonnell the second. Bonnell the second. 34. Known to the streaming community as Destiny, is also a popular streamer on YouTube and Discord. Yeah. Streaming. Yeah. He got banned from Twitch. So let's just throw that out there. And by the way, his Discord, army is legion. An app that allows you to create your own platform for either a private or group chat and is used by millions of people around the world, in case you didn't know what Discord was. His live streams and videos cover a range of topics, but mainly focus on computer games and political commentary. Yeah. Yeah, they do. Destiny married his wife, Swedish internet personality Melina Göransson, in 2021. The streamer has come under fire for joking about, quote unquote, self-deletion online. On December 7th, 2023, Destiny retweeted a video on X, now Twitter, formerly Twitter, Twix, with the caption, "How to talk to Swedish girls." In the video, a man introduces himself to a woman. Then he says to her, "If you don't give me your number, I'm going to take my own life." The woman then appears to be uncomfortable before the video ends. Really? It's funny. Melina Göransson, 25, is an internet personality from Sweden. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. Okay. 34, 25. 9 years difference. Anybody remember any of these back and forths on whatever podcast, or hell, with me, for example, or perhaps Melina with Myron on Saucecast talking about age differences between men and women? Anybody remember that? I sure the fuck do. Anybody got that? Okay. Also, been married since 2021. It is now 2023. How long, if we're not even done with 2023, how long has that been, children?
Hello there, children. How's it going?
Didn't last that long. Now, remember, he's a statistic at this point. Okay. What is it? Is it 67% of marriages, second marriages, fail? Okay. Now, I have to also kind of come back. I got to backpedal a little bit on here because it gets back to what I was talking about, how modern 21st century society is struggling with a post-marriage society. And we still haven't acknowledged it. We still haven't gotten that memo just yet. And the latest person to get the fallout from this, of course, is Destiny. So we'll talk about that, because these are guys who have gone on Lex Friedman to talk about how great their open marriage is. Like, in great detail. I have used that clip on this show. I used it because Melina was talking about how Destiny's habit of getting involved with crazy bitches, the ones that want to baby trap him. That was from that Lex Friedman interview between the two of them. And I think it's fascinating. Honestly, I'm not even going to point fingers at Melina and Destiny for that. I'm going to point at the people who give them fucking airtime, who build them up and build them into something that they like. That, oh, here's another spectacle. It's like here's the freak show. Here's the blue-haired freak and his whore wife, right? It's the people who are giving these guys a legitimate platform. Really, that's what comes down. I put the blame for. I set that firmly in front of Lex Friedman. I set that firmly in front of Chris Williamson. I set that firmly in front of anybody who has given this guy legitimacy over the years. We're going to talk about how you're going to go talk. How are we going to save the West? How are we going to save marriage? How Lila Rose? How are we going to Lila Rose is going to go at Justin Waller for his lifestyle. But where the fuck is it? Where's the fire and brimstone, bitch? With the blue-haired guy. It doesn't even register. So I just wanted to point that out. The other thing here is that if you look at where these go, here it is. Melina Göransson, 25, is an internet personality from Sweden. No, she's an OnlyFans whore, is what she is. Okay, I'm channeling my inner John Zerka right now because that's what she did, and that's really what you want to know how Destiny really figured out what she was about. Is because she's been doing OnlyFans for fuck's sake. The pictures are out there. Her ex-boyfriends have been like outing that for a very long time. What was the dude's name? I forget the guy's name who was recently just released the leaked pictures of her. And by the way, then you've got like even in those pictures, you've got Destiny like smiling like a shit-eating grin on his face. He's got like grabbing an ass of Melina and some other chick that's in the pictures as well. Tell me that guy's not red pill, please. Somebody tell me he's not. Melina has been known to stream on Twitch. She used to, broadcasting content about pools, hot tubs, and beaches on Twitch. Destiny, meanwhile, was banned from Twitch in 2021 for leaking an employee's email following a data leak that affected the streaming platform. He confirmed that the ban became permanent in 2022 because that's what this motherfucker does. Destiny spoke on a podcast in November 2023 about attending a 5-hour therapy session with Melina. I needed to have resolved like pretty quickly because shit was getting a little out of control in my personal life. He said he also mentioned that he had asked for one long session due to Melina being in and out of the country. Yeah, she was living with the new dude, with Harry Styles, whatever I don't even know what the guy's name is. This guy, where'd he go? From the banner. There it is. The guy that's on, there you go. The guy on the right in the dress. Harry Styles. She's met and fallen in love with Harry Styles. There you go. You can't make this shit up, man. It's like what? Dylan Mulvaney. She fell in love with Dylan Mulvaney. Okay. The divorce rumor started after people on social media discovered that Destiny seemingly unfollowed or blocked his wife Melina on a number of platforms. Okay. We'll keep going. Destiny allegedly confirmed the split in a chat on Discord, though neither he nor Melina have publicly addressed the rumors. This is why I'm still on the fence. I reserve the right to be wrong about this. Okay, let's see. In screenshots posted on social media, Destiny allegedly called the last few weeks and months a massive mindfuck. Destiny claimed he had witnessed Melina become obsessed with a toxic, abusive guy. Boy, do I have a video for you. When I visited Sweden last time, he gave Mel an ultimatum to divorce me and then threatened to kill himself when he visited Sweden. To visit her when she was staying with the dude? When she didn't do it, among 20 other abusive, manipulative things he'd done. Okay. So I'm out. So there you go. I'm out. I'm walking. I finally found my balls. Dude, you've been letting your wife like go and like nail other guys for at least the last like year and a half. The couple has spoke candidly about their open relationship. Candidly, no, they've evangelized for the polyamory lifestyle is what they've done. Not unlike a lot of other people. Would you like, shall I name names? Here they are. Jeff Miller and Diana Fleischman, both evangelists for the poly lifestyle. I mean, going on show after show after show. Who's Dr. Jeffrey Miller, I should point out. And by the way, that's the only point of contention I have with Jeffrey Miller. He blocked me a long time ago. But he's also very good friends with another very famous cuckoldie, Jack Murphy. Pretty much the same arrangement that Jeff Miller and Destiny have. And then, of course, Destiny is also on there. And I've always wondered this is, okay, that's enough of that. I can pull this out now. I'm getting a 60 cycle hum again. It might be the lights. There you go. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing that. Anyway, so there, yeah, okay, Sneeko, thank you very much. But was Sneeko in an open relationship? I don't know if he ever broadcasted that he was in an open relationship. Jack Murphy. You know what's funny is like people don't like when people see the cuck beard, like the skunk beard, and they put it on like Will Smith. People go, "Oh, he's a cuck." They don't know where the beard came from. The beard came from Jack Murphy, right? That's what it came. Yeah, heartfelt, right? Sydney Watson, the bane of Sydney Watson's existence. But so I mean, that's the lifestyle. And I'll tell you what's interesting. And I'm going to point this out because I have been very vocal about the quote unquote poly lifestyle for a very long time. Hey, Sam, can you go dig up the link for my was it my polyamory ones? I forget the name of it now. Problem with poly, it might be that. But anyways, I have some very choice articles, essays that I wrote right around 2018, and they were really in response to Jack. I knew that Jack. Well, there came a point where everyone at the 21 convention knew that Jack Murphy was at least previously, if not currently, still in a cuckolded, have in the lifestyle, in the kink lifestyle, or whatever the fuck he was on. He putting purple dildos up his ass. Still, and I didn't know about the videos until later. I only knew he was writing blogs about like how secure in his masculinity he was because he let his girlfriend, who was much younger than he is, also go out on Tinder dates and bang other guys, and how it was a strange source. I think it was the title of it, a strange source of see if I can find this strange source of masculinity. And where'd it go? Do I have that in here? I might still have a screenshot of that. It's been since purged. I do. It's since been purged, but I will be happy to show this to you. Where'd it go? This was the original article from Jack Murphy. Just so you know, just to give you a little bit of frame of reference here. This was the Jack Murphy article that got purged. You might be able to find this on like Wayback Machine or something like that. But let's see, where is it? There we go. Here you go. Cultivating erotic energy from a surprising source. Let's see if I can blow this up for you. This was the Jack Murphy article, the infamous one that was referred to on Sydney Watson's show. Well, the now defunct show, You Are Here, that I happened to be on the week before. Let's see. Here we go. Today, I sent my adoring, loyal, hot, young girlfriend of 2 years. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Okay. She is currently of 2 years to have sex with a stranger from Tinder. She is currently at his apartment, checked in with me via text, and is presumably sucking and fucking her way to a good time. I'm alone writing. Couldn't be happier.
Well, I'm a whore.
Now, before you write me off as another salon.com freak who wants to be a cuckold for someone of spineless beta or some kind of spineless beta under male, hear me out. This has been a long road. Well, I'll bet it has. My manhood is intact and my dick is hard. I'm almost 40. Years ago, after my divorce from my blue pill marriage, I found Royce, Roosh, and eventually Rational Male. Along the way, I made friends with Cernovich. That's Mike Cernovich, by the way, who is also very anti-red pill these days. And we came up together in the game. Gotcha. I've learned and practiced tantra. I hope I'm saying that. Tantric sex. No, dude, you shove dildos up your ass and you have sex with younger guys. Various elements of the BDSM lifestyle and just about every angle, pun intended, for male-female relations. Yeah. He's an emphasis on the male side too. From experience, effort, and education, I've become an expert. Yeah. I learned over time how my natural disposition to be is to be dominant. For submissive women, I'm practically an ideal. I've had sex slaves, little girls, tied them up. Feminists seek me out to fuck them like the patriarchy. And yet I just sent my 15-year junior girlfriend to bang Matt from Tinder. Why? Well, I can't keep going. That's just the screen cap. So if you guys were ever wondering, well, what is he talking about? The infamous Cuck article. There you have it. Live on the Rational Male. And I remember having those conversations with Jack Murphy back in the day, because I was talking, because from just a practical standpoint, when I was talking about polyamory, I always think like the people who are into it, like quite honestly, I think it's really a beta male mating strategy is what it ends up being for the most part, because it usually is one, because who gets like of the two sexes, who can make polyamory work the best? Usually women, because they have more sexual selectivity than the guy. And I will, in fact, I will back that up here in just a moment. But so when I was going through all this stuff, I would have, and if you look at my older tweets from like 2018, 2019, whenever I found a, let's see if I can find that. Hold on a second. Whenever I found an article on poly, let's see if I can grab this. Pretty sure I have it. Oh, there it is. Paternity, promiscuity, and poly. Is that the one I was looking for? Ah, here it is. Perfect. If you want to see this, I'll put it in the chat here so you can see it. There you go. This was from, let's see, 2019, June 27th, 2019. I'm just going to show you the picture of my lead-in picture of this because this was a collage that I actually had to put together at the time. I was having these debates with Jack Murphy at that time, as well as Jeff Miller, Dr. Jeffrey Miller, who he and his wife Diana Fleischman would go on shows and just like sing the praises of polyamory. And I thought it was the height of like cognitive dissonance for a guy like Jeff Miller, because this guy knows the power of like mate guarding. He knows that jealousy as an emotion is an evolved adaptation. Like guys get jealous because the guys that got jealous and mate guarded their wives were the ones who went on to breed and they had passed that gene and that propensity on to their offspring, right? So when we get jealous, like I think what's interesting is and I brought this up at the time, and I'm actually brought this up just recently. When we look at jealousy and we look at mate guarding, at least in the male sense, I'm going to talk about men. We can do the flip side for women here in just a second. But when we talk about mate guarding and we talk about jealousy is an emotion. It's a triggered emotion. Like when guys get jealous or when there's been infidelity or there's a boundary that's been crossed, men will ask women, where did you fuck him? Was it in the kitchen? Was it in our bed? Does he have a bigger dick than me? Did you come? They want all of the details, and women are like, why do you want the details? Oh my gosh, you're making me relive it again. Like, yeah, but the reason why guys fixate on that is because they want to know if the baby that comes out of that womb is his. That's why, because it's a failure to have protected her from like an interloper. And that mate guarding instinct and that jealousy instinct that we looked at it right just this last week with Hunter Avallone's girlfriend's ex-boyfriend coming in and self-deleting and trying to delete her before he did. And that's just one example of many, but that's the most recent sort of like in-your-face example that we've had just in the last couple of days. That is mate guarding. That is jealousy. If I can't have her, no one can. That's where it came down. That's what it comes down to. Men care about whether or not their investment in that woman is going to pay off dividends in the child that comes out of her, and their DNA is going to go off into perpetuity. That's really what the nuts and bolts of it right there. Oh, it's emotion. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's toxic masculinity. Oh, no, it's not. It's simple math is what it is. I need to know that the baby that comes out of your womb is my fucking kid. Because if I don't, and I invest, like I showed you, like we were just looking at that one video of that guy on the intro here. That's a guy who basically got caught, or the woman got caught anyways. But the guy who basically got caught in a baby trap, and paid the price for it and invested in it. Thank you for that. The polyamorous stuff. Oh, good. Did I get that? Paternity, promiscuity, and poly. I've already brought it up. Thank you. I see you in the direct mail. So where does mate guarding come from? Where does jealousy come from? Well, it comes because guys need to know that the baby is theirs. That's really what it boils down to. And people don't like to hear this because they were really upset when I wrote about this in Substack recently. But like I propose that there's a school of thought, let's just say, that organisms are basically vehicles to pass on DNA. DNA is it. That is you want to pedestalize the DNA. Your purpose in this world is to survive and to fuck. And that's really what it boils down to. Why is the fucking part important? Because that's the way you pass on your DNA into the next life. You will die. The vehicle will decay. This vessel was not built to last. The only thing immortal about yourself will be your DNA. And that's what gets passed on. And there's a really kind of vicious, like deterministic school of thought right now. And I believe in this as some sort of philosophy? No, I don't. But I understand the mechanics behind it. It's like very selfish gene, mechanics here. But the mechanics behind all of this is that you are simply like human beings, dogs, cats, fish, whatever. You're just a vehicle to pass on what will remain on this planet. What will be immortal is your DNA in some combined form, let's just say, right? And that's why guys, because if you don't solve your reproductive problem, you go extinct and your DNA line dies. That's why, and this is me again, this is the Rollo Tomasi opinion once again. This is why I believe that like when women don't want a man's last name, what they're saying is, I don't want the designation of whatever his genes are to be attached to my children, because that's really what it is. That's why bastard child and everything. People don't want the name, because a last name, a surname, is really the designator or the designation that we apply to our own DNA. So if a woman says, I don't know, I'm going to keep my last name. I'm a lawyer. I don't know. I'm a brand myself. I'm not going to take his last name, yada, yada, yada. Or I'm going to hyphenate, like it's a half measure. I'm going to hyphenate my last name. Or we're going to combine our last names. Or it's patriarchal and it means ownership and everything. No, it is a designator for that man's DNA. His DNA is called Tomasi. His DNA is called John Smith, right? Whatever it is. And if the woman who's going to bear your children will not take your last name, that should be a huge, like, much bigger red flag than anything else, I think. Anyways, that, again, me spitballing my opinion. So coming back to the mate guarding thread here is important. The DNA, knowing that the kid's going to be yours, is important. That's why guys fixate on the nuts and bolts, right? Fixate on the visceral side of it. Who are you fucking? How did you fuck him? Did you get off? Blah, 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 blah. Women, on the other hand, will say, are you in love with her? Do you have an emotional connection with her? That's why when we talk about infidelity, what's infidelity today? What even qualifies as infidelity, especially in the post-marriage society? We're finding out right now. Apparently the boundary for infidelity in Destiny's marriage is hooking up with this guy. Where'd it go? There it is. It's hooking up with Harry Styles. That's infidelity. That's a bridge too far. That's just, I'm done. I'm out. Quote, I'm out. If that's what's going to make you leave, this is the extreme that you to leave. Now, yes, I know there's going to be so many people in the comments. Trust me, we're coming up on the good part. I promise you. But the long and the short of it is that the designation of his DNA is, not being carried through. And then the reason guys get down to the nitty gritty is because that's what their primary interest is. For women, it's, did you fall in love? Am I going to lose my investment? So when women say, like, that's one of the reasons why, and I think this is a David Buss thing, but one of the reasons why women will forgive infidelity in men far, far easier than men will forgive women is because if he's not in love with her and it was just a one-time thing, or they were just fucking and there's no children that were produced out of it or anything like that, and that woman's like investment in that guy is not threatened, then women are much more likely to share a successful alpha than to be saddled with the faithful beta. And so people are going to ask me this, and this is the juicy part. People are going to say, well, he doesn't look very alpha. How did he out-alpha her? Well, we're going to get to that part. Most likely it's because she is, I want to say bipolar. She certainly has a borderline personality disorder that I can diagnose right now. But you're talking about people who are very psychologically, like, not altogether. I happen to know that, Destiny, of course, is using like Vyvanase and God knows whatever else for his ADHD. So there's also that aspect. I know that he has some sort of condition or whatever. Maybe he's got on the autistic spectrum, or he's got Asperger's syndrome or something like that. Again, not to make light of that. But I also know that he'd been married once before. I think the woman baby trapped him as well. So he has a prior marriage to this. He has a young son. And then he gets in with Melina, and now Melina is moving on. Okay, this is a prime example of a maxim that I just recently wrote about, and by the way, will end up in my book. She's not yours; it's just your turn, and he's learning that right now. This is here's the nutritional value of today's show. She's not yours; it's just your turn. And that's really where sort of like this whole drama, begins and ends. And I'm going to throw this out here really quickly. Oh, am I? Yeah. How, dude? There's that attention you wanted. Tell me. Oh, you're so gossipy. Let me explain something to you about gossip here. Okay. If you're getting something out of that, if you're getting some sort of like education out of that, it's not gossip anymore. And that's the other thing is gossip is unfalsifiable. Especially when it's like when you get to the point where you can't like open your mouth about anything, or you can't point out hypocrisy. When you see a fraud and you don't call out fraud, you're the fucking fraud. It's not gossip at that point. But the problem is everybody goes, oh, it's Grandma Rollo. He's all gossip. That's all he talks about. Blah, blah, blah. No, dude. No. It's not gossip when it's fucking true. It's not like, oh, hearsay. It's not like he said, she said. This is, I'm going to show you exactly how it's not gossip here in just a second. But that's what's going to be thrown at me. In fact, I should probably address that before I even started in on this whole thing. But that's the thing is like people are going to say, oh, Rollo was a gossip. I'm like, dude, I've been in this business for fucking 22 fucking years. If I think it's interesting, I'll hit on it. I can't open my mouth. I can't even say the last name Peterson without somebody saying, oh, you're a gossip. Fuck you. Yeah, there you go. Sure, bro. Let me put this in. Let's put this in really quickly here. I want to show you how all of this began. Let's see. There it is. This is how it all began, people.
Try some vines.
Okay. Can we?
And then we got super drunk.
We need to. No.
No, we're not drunk.
Let me explain what happened.
He's like.
This one is drunk, and that guy is.
No, it's not true. You're drunk.
So I'm babysitting these two guys because they're very drunk. So I'm trying to make sure that they become sober, right? Mm-hmm. You want to be sober? Okay. So we're going to become sober.
All right. So can we go to 80 and 76 and get some more drinks?
No, I don't think.
Yes, I think we should get another one.
Oh my God, you're so smart. You're like streaming more than I have. Don't fall off.
No, I'm not going to fall off.
Wait, you're going to fall off?
No, I'm not.
You're right at the edge.
No, I'm not.
Can you please come back?
No.
Is he okay?
Yes.
Okay. He's so mad.
I asked him for permission.
Do you know what's cool about New Zealand?
What?
I don't ever feel like I'm going to get shot.
No, we're not going to get shot for anything. It's going to be fucking
like
sick.
The worst case scenario, someone will punch me, but I'll never get actually shot with a gun.
So what are we doing? Like we're sitting down with a table and we're putting down the cameras, or what are we doing?
I mean, Max, listen, I think it's going to be up to you because right now, I don't think I'm in the best spot to make that decision.
Yeah,
but you're going to be negotiating with all of the patrons.
I'm going to be honest with you, Destiny. Like, you don't have to be in the best spot to have a good conversation.
Oh, no. I can have good conversations, but people get very uncomfortable when you record them.
Yeah, but we're only going to record us.
Okay, but people hear voices on the camera. Listen, Max, you're the streamer tonight. Record away.
Yeah, I'm just feeling like, what would Greek god do?
He wouldn't stream at all. He would just not stream.
No, who's the guy? Poseidon? Would Poseidon stream this?
He would probably get arrested by the police.
Yeah, so we're doing better than Poseidon.
Okay.
And I think that counts for something.
Okay, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay. What the fuck?
It's New Zealand, mate. It's not fucking America.
But we're in Queensland. They could throw them out. I don't even think you guys hit them well. What? Don't look at me like that. Are you judging me? Get away from me. Listen. Can we please get the boxes first? Because we're going to the van anyway, so shouldn't we retrieve the boxes?
I think before the boxes, we should go through your daddy issues.
I don't have daddy issues. I don't like my parents.
And your mommy issues?
No, I don't have any of that. Listen. Okay.
Listen.
Okay.
I'm listening.
I'm gonna be done pretending. Do you think she's like really like, look, you can just like do this?
Yeah, what's
Holy
that?
Holy shit, I don't know. It's just like, she's very touchable.
Yeah, that's the way of putting it.
Do you think so?
It sure is.
Okay. Max, mate, do you
Mate,
think
if you want to pee,
yeah,
we can find a spot for you,
okay,
mate.
so then why don't we fucking do that?
So you
oh
see
my
that?
God, we're just in the street. There's a roundabout. Okay.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Another day, another dollar, as they say. We just trying to take care of Stephen Kenneth Fonnell II, and this is diary log 21. Day 2 with Destiny. He's kind of a manlet, kind of like a big child. In some parts, he's very grown, like when it comes to computers and streaming services like that, maybe even politics.
I take dumps in the forest.
Yeah.
It's fucking nice.
Yeah, but you're more connected to nature. So this is what we're doing. We're having a rehabilitation, just sensation for Stephen, so he knows what it's like to be a real human. Because a big part of what society does today is that it disconnects you from the human experience. It makes you believe that you're not human, that you are something else, you're labels, you're a vegan, or you're a capitalist, or at different parts of just the system, so to speak.
Watch Destiny? Okay.
You like that one? Okay. I will spare you there's actually another section of this that I'm going to spare you from, just so you guys can tell. That was the dude that she left to get with Destiny. So you got to remember, there's a pattern has been established here, my bro. So I'm going to try to help Destiny here. Like I meant this too, by the way. When I tweeted this out, I said, look, whatever your situation is, I don't want to see anybody self-delete. Even Destiny, I don't want to see him self-delete. As fucked up as everything that he pulled on me, like back in July and August of this year, that's not my mission statement. I would rather take the noose off a guy's necks, even in my worst enemies. I would rather that happen. Like people say, well, Rollo, why don't you crush your enemies? Law 15, Rollo. Well, there's also law 2. Okay. And I think that when I look at this now, is he redeemable? Is he savable? Probably not. And he's probably going to just think of this as me being like patronizing him. And in a way it probably is. But that was Melina's now ex, and now she gets with Destiny, and now she's getting with another guy. So people were asking me, like, how does she get with a guy like this? How does she get with Harry Styles? That's how she gets with Harry Styles, because that's the established pattern. It's the emo pattern. I have a great article, maybe Sam, if you can pull this up for me, it'd be great. I have an article on the Rational Mail called "Tickle Me Emo," and it explains why women will get with weesh guys. And we'll stick it out with weesh guys, right? If that's the context, because if those are the guys that the women feel secure with and they have some sort of power over, then that's sort of the pattern. That it's going back to what worked. It's the sure thing. And I would also probably, again, I hate to be armchair psychologist here, but I would also diagnose her somewhat with borderline personality disorder, at least from what I've been able to tell. Now, what was this video from? This video was the very first video that was shot when they were getting together. This is before they were married. Okay. So you've got a woman who got scooped up, who got amogged, like Destiny amogged that guy in that video. And now Destiny is getting amogged by the guy on the right side of this screen right here. That's the new guy. I don't know his name. I don't care to know his name. He's Mr. Weesh. He's a Weesh. It's Harry Styles. That's the pattern, man. And I will tell you this. I think the great awakening, or the slap in the face, the cold bucket of fucking truth that needs to be poured over your head, Destiny, is this is a red pill principle. She's not yours. It was just your turn. You just got to turn. You just got to ride. Maybe she's a serial monogamist. I don't know. Maybe she needed to have her taxes paid off. There's been some rumor about how she had $300,000 in taxes that she needed to get paid off. And now it's like, you know what? I'm just done. I'm just out of this. Women check out of a marriage or check out of a relationship long before guys really even realize that they have. But it's not even that. It's this fucking self-righteous, smug, smarmy bullshit that both of them have been putting together, have been broadcasting for the last, 18 months, certainly a year and a half, maybe at least certainly this last year for sure. Certainly since Lex Friedman's interview with the both of them. And every goddamn time she's on Saucecast, It's like, oh yeah, she completely contradicts everything. She just wants to be like contrarian when it comes to the red pill. And guess what? Here it is, black and white. You're the shining best illustration of it. And you want to talk about cognitive dissonance? Now, maybe I'll turn on Tiffany Fox with this, but women have no trouble with cognitive dissonance whatsoever. Period. I know people say, what do you mean? Oh, don't they get like, inner turmoil? No, they don't. And especially when that cognitive dissonance is charged by hypergamy. If women are faced with two conflicting ideas or two conflicting concepts, or one, like it's a right versus right or a wrong versus wrong, and it's a cognitive dissonance, and either one of those outcomes will benefit her in terms of her hypergamous life plan, is no problem in holding both of those conflicting ideas at the same time. So when she's out there and she's broadcasting this, oh, thank you. That tickle me email. Put that in the, if you would put that in the chat, I would appreciate it. But yeah. So, well, why does she go for the emo guy instead of, like, that's another thing, is this is also, God, there's so many little gems in this one story. It's also a perfect example of dual mating strategy as opposed to mate switching hypothesis, which is supposed to be the new hotness right now. Why in the fuck would she go out with Harry Styles? Why would she be with this motherfucker when she could be with the other guy? When she could be with the blue-haired dude? Why? Rollo, isn't she supposed to trade up? Yeah, well, let's also look at it from this way as well. It's like, first of all, she probably really fucked up in the head. But then the other thing is, who knows what her hypergamous like priorities happen to be. Now, well, what are you talking about? I'm talking about this. Okay, this is the timeline here. Okay, you got to go back to my second book to really wrap your head around this. She was 25 at the time, or she was 23 at the time. I'm not really sure when they got married. He's 34. She's 25. Is that what the current ages are right now? Either way, she's entering into her epiphany phase. He's or at least coming into his own as far as his own that peak sexual market value years. Whether you can make a case for that or not, I don't know. But what happens is during the you see where I start status, like in the gray lines down there below, status at about 25 years old. That's like the guy has no clear status. He seems to be like very maladjusted, but it could also be that she just simply wants to get away from destiny. And this was her way of getting out of it. It could have been that she just like, you know what? I'm done with this guy. I need it. I need a legitimate way. Like according to the forums, according to the Reddits and Discord, she's been living with this guy. How you allow that as a dude? Yeah. But the problem I have with this is like I'm seeing this guy, the Harry Styles guy, I'm seeing that as a springboard. She's not so much into the guy, she's that done with destiny that this guy seems like a good alternative. So you have to put it into context. Oh, she's doing all these fucked up things. He says he's going to off himself if she doesn't do what I tell, if he doesn't break up with me or doesn't divorce me, blah, blah. Well, it could be that she's monkey branching. She just wants to get out of Destiny's, world and get into something else. She's already got her own. I mean, she can make her own money. She's already a somewhat, well-known internet celebrity. She won't be much. There won't be much left of her, let's just say, after the divorce. But who knows what their financial situations are? I don't know, and I don't fucking care. But I do know this is a contextual perspective right here. This is like, is that guy more alpha than like, I hate having to even make this fucking comparison, because I'm going to say from what I can see, and this is just like my own observation here, I don't know. I will say that the body language is much different, right? Even the guy in the dress, right? He's sitting in her lap and she's doing it. She's okay with it. Whereas in the other one, by the way, the reason I used that video is because that's when they first got together. That was in the first, those are some of the first videos, or I think they're the first videos of the two of them together. And Destiny poached Melina from that dude. And now this dude on the right is poaching Melina from Destiny. And that's karmic justice, Rollo. Well, you call it what you want to. Again, I could be wrong. This could be one big hose job. But if I have to give you guys an explanation, this is most definitely a dual mating strategy to get away from Destiny. Not so much because he's such a great guy and it would be different. Imagine she gets with a guy that looks, like and acts like John Zerka. I can see that happening with her, like wanting to get away from that guy. But be that as it may. Let's get back into these here really quickly. Highly recommend you get uBlock Origin browser add-on. Blocks ads and trackers. GladNet is doing better. Thank you very much for your concern about my Greyhound. There you go. You can also see it in the body language. Absolutely. I love it when I go to Babes in Toyland, or if I did a show with Maya Allegra and Sascast, who I love like a sister, maybe more. But I'll show pictures of that, and I get the Green Line Mafia that wants to say, "Oh, he wasn't standing up; he's got cock shame or whatever." Like whatever, the whole incel bullshit. And where's that applied to Destiny? Nowhere. I know how daunting this is for new Red Pill guys. Took 2 years. Default approach developed. Ryan Stone and Rollo predicted that average as accurately as 5 stages of grief. Rocket science is easy when you know how. Thank you. 12 rules for alpha is the one that have no love for 12 rules for alpha is for those that have no love for the journey and long for the destination. Out of the blue pill mindset, I'm realizing where I came from and how much work I have to do. I enjoy the journey. Thank you, Rollo. Thank you for saying that too, Catman. Because that's really what the red pill's about. It's about the development. And as by the way, I maybe you're referring to this, but I made the comment on Marquette's show, on Saint and Sinner show, that the human condition is defined by discontent, not by contentment. And as soon as you think you're going to be content with whatever, your new law degree or your new plateau, or once you can bench 300 or whatever, that's going to make you happy, or you're going to be content once you get to a certain stage or certain part of the mountain, right? You climb that mountain, you're going to be content, right? Until you're not, until half an hour afterwards, and you go, what's next? And that's a good thing. That's absolutely, it's one of the reasons why we grow, and that's why we're the apex species on this planet, right? But the problem is that people think that there can be some sort of continuous, sustainable goal state of contentment and happiness and whatever that's really what we sell as happiness right now. When in fact, the enjoyment and happiness comes from the doing, not from the having, not from the achieving. And so when people deal with discontent, they deal with it either creatively or destructively. And most people deal with it destructively, unfortunately. And if people say, well, Rollo, you don't tell anybody to get up and do anything. I'm like, well, fuck, you know what? Here's what you do. Stop sedating yourself with whatever your sedation is, and start doing the things that are intrinsically rewarding for you and that help you grow and move you from your bullshit state into a much better state. That you will be happy doing the thing that makes you happy. Happiness is a proximate goal, or a proximate outcome, and not an ultimate outcome. And anyone telling you can measure happiness as an ultimate outcome, anyone telling you that they have this secret to life that's going to make you happy in the long term as a goal state, as a state that will, you'll just be perpetually in that state, tell them to fuck off, because they are trying to sell you something or find some way to manipulate you or to get you to toe whatever line it is that they would like you to toe. They want you to pull the cart for them. And that's one of the easiest ways to do it. And by the way, I think women suffer from this far more than guys do, because guys, I think on some level of consciousness, men realize that they have a burden of performance, and happiness comes from trying to figure out how to perform, how to be better than you were the day before, right? Whereas women are sold this bill of goods that if they take this antidepressant, or they do whatever it is that they do, that they will be sustainably happy. And it's bullshit. women tend to seek security more than anything else, right? They're the not the weaker sex, but the fragile, vulnerable sex. And as such, their psyche is predisposed to seeking out security, whether that's security provided by themselves or the state or a man makes no difference. The security is the highest priority in the long term. So when you tell women, relax, it's all right, don't worry about it. Like women get really pissed off when you say, oh, relax, baby. Relax is don't worry, I got this, when that woman thinks you don't got this, because she is a vulnerable woman in a very chaotic, discordant, world, and there is really no security. But if you can sell women the idea that they can be happy and content and secure with a pill, with a thought process, with chick crack, with superstition, with woo-woo, with Brazilian power crystals, you're gonna make a shit ton of money. You're the dad we all needed. Wish you were 20 years older. Wish I was 20. Wish you were 20 years older. Fuck, I don't. Thank you. Thank you for the vote of confidence, though. Since discovering the red pill, it changed my life for the better in every way: mentally, physically, politically, financially. As a father and 20-year relationship, now I see everything with a red pill lens, mainly because of Rollo Tomasi, Fresh and Fit, and Donna Sharp. Thank you for your testimonial there, Big Boss. You know what? Here, you get one of those. So what are you saying, Big Boss? That the red pill has some utility? That the red pill actually does something? Please take that over to Saint and Sinner next time. Rollo, we are just buying women when it comes to dating, or are we just buying women when it comes to dating or relationships? Good question. We don't have to call them parasites, but would you just call it call it for what it is already? Okay. We can use the term parasite if you'd like. I don't have any problem with that. I would say this is that even the most validational relationships between men and women can devolve into transactional relationships if you as a guy allow it, for sure. I think we try to formalize this, particularly in the way that we do marriage right now. But people was like, I get in this. By the way, I've had this conversation with Aaron Clary before. Aaron Clary will agree with you. He'll say, everything's prostitute. Women are all, wait, here we go.
Well, I'm a whore.
Women are all whores, right? If they can get away with it, they will. And if they can institute it legally, they will. And if men will back them up, they will. And it's hard to really disagree with that, because a lot of people will say, well, you're either paying for it, renting it, or you're financing it. People will say that same thing about me. Well, I've been married for 27 years, but it's a symbiotic relationship. And it's like hard for me to explain exactly what the benefit is that I get out of having a wife, right? I love my wife. I mean, there's definitely the emotional side of it as well. And I have a child, and I have a 27-year history with my wife. My wife is downstairs watching Ned right now. Thank you very much. She don't get paid to watch Ned. Could I pay someone to watch Ned? Fuck yeah, I could, but they wouldn't care as well as my wife does. But I think when it comes down to the transactional side of things, I've got it was in a player's handbook, the difference between transactional sex and validational sex. I think that's really what kind of narrows that whole question down, because when we're talking about prostitution, like paying for box, right? I've always said, you can buy a man a whore and you get him laid for a night, but if you teach him game, you get him laid for a lifetime. Yes, that's a play on the old parable. But the idea is that, should you pay for box? Oh, remember when everybody came at Myron and Fresh for using seeking arrangements? Oh yeah, that's just for whores. No, those women are there because they know what they want, and those men are there because they know what those women want too. It's all above board. And is it transactional? It could be, very much so. But I will say this, is that when I've experienced this myself in my rock star 20s. I've experienced it several times, women who just wanted to fuck for the sake of fucking. And that's why I think that whole bullshit with Jordan Peterson talking about people who have casual sex, they're pathological, or no, they're psychopaths. No, they're not psychopaths. They just enjoy fucking. can't we just like not, can we just say, you know what? We like to fuck, right? I mean, there's a reason why guys have a problem with pornography right now, because it is unlimited access, virtually, I mean, vicariously, unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. So if you're going to have a problem with people who have sex like vicariously or, you know, promiscuously or whatever, what about the guys who are like addicted to porn? Are they psychopaths too? Because they're essentially engaging in like, you know, unlimited access to unlimited sexuality that they can't actually get, but they would if they could. So are they also psychopaths, or do they just want to fuck? Everybody wants some, man. David Lee Roth was right. Everybody wants some. Want some, get some. Like I was talking to, or no, I was talking, actually it was Jay Waller. I had a conversation with Jay Waller about this because of that one video that he had pressing the red button, right? You press the red button and you could have, you know, side pieces. You could have girls on the side, and you can still have your wife and your kids, and they tuck them in at night, and you still have this loving, wonderful married relationship. But you'd also have, if you had the opportunity, you would, like, men are only as faithful as their opportunity, right? Or the options. And I talked to Jay, and I'm still kind of waiting for an answer, maybe. But I'm like, would you have more respect for me, or would you have less respect for me if you found out that I cheated on my wife? I never cheated on my wife. I never would, right? Does that make me a beta male? Does that mean blue pill? Or does that mean that I'm actually pretty satisfied with my sex life and I'm good with it? I'm happy with it, right? She takes care of me and I take care of her. And you know what I do for a living. And you know where I go on every other week in Vegas. And you know who I hang out with. The thing is that the idea of transactional sex and validational sex is most people's frame of reference, especially guys. If you think about guys who are like the 80%er guys, the guys who are like the unattractive guys, the beta males, for lack of a better word. But you look at guys who are in the 80 percentile, the ones that women find unattractive, they've got to find ways to make themselves attractive, or they've got to find ways to sort of cope. And part of that cope is trying to get guys to think that they shouldn't be, you know, they shouldn't be engaging in promiscuous sex if that's what they could do. So what I wanted to know was, like, if that's the case, if you think that somebody like living the lifestyle of Jay Waller or Mike Sartain, or even, I don't know what, I'm not even going to mention Tate because I don't know what the fuck his arrangement is. But if it's close on her end and open on his end in that kind of arrangement, like first of all, where's the boundaries for like infidelity? And then second of all, like, if that's what you can pull off, if that's what you can, like, if you can do that, does that make you a bad person for doing that? Or are you just simply following your own imperatives? Are you simply like, does that make you a bad guy? And is that transactional or is that validational? I've been in positions where I have had validational sex, and thank God, you know, I learned the difference. But I think that if you're in a position where you don't have a lot of sexual access, if you're a guy, if you're one of these guys who are like the invisibles, right? These undesirables, and you don't have that sexual access, transactional sex seems like the only kind of sex there is. So when I was, you know, like I said, when I was in my rock star 20s, I could have women who would pull me off stage and go drag me into the women's bathroom and, you know, and do things. Not because I had a lot of money, not because I had anything of value. I had women who would come over to my place in North Hollywood, and Lord knows I had a pickup truck and I had my amp and I had some guitars, and that was my liquid assets when I lived in Los Angeles. And I was still getting laid every Friday, every Saturday night. Didn't have it. Like, that clearly wasn't transactional. So there was something about me, or about guys like me at that time, that made this attractive and arousing enough to want to have sex with and want to like actually break rules to have sex with. So I know validational sex is actually a thing. In validational relationship, if you can carry that over into a relationship, I think those are actually more healthy than ones that are based on transaction. Whenever I hear a guy say happy wife, happy life, that's transactional sex. That's an idiom. That's a folk tale for transactional sex. If I keep her happy, then we'll have a happy life. Don't make mama, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And if mama ain't happy, you're not getting your dick sucked. Or I'll see these, like, people throw these memes at me where they'll have like the good, like cookie time for good boy list, right? Cookie time for good boy. That's what it's a list of all these chores that the guy has to do. And if he does these and performs these chores, he gets a blowjob. or he gets to, sex on the weekend or in the shower or something, like whatever the perk was for changing the diapers or mowing the lawn or some shit like that. Is transactional sex. And people like guys will say, oh, hey, women, I guess we'll never understand them. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, that's the guy that has his only frame of reference is transactional when it comes to sex. He's never been desired just because he's hot and women want to fuck him. And I will point this out, and I'll end with this, is that when I see like a guy like Jay Waller, and I have seen this happen, I have the photo to prove this too. When I see him at a restaurant, and some chick walks by, a nice looking chick walks by and drops a note. It's like it was a tag or whatever, the menu tag, and has her phone number on it and says, call Ashley. They're all called Ashley, right? And it puts a number. And he's like holding this up, and it's like, I just happened right there in front of me and Tom and his assistant Tom, and then Justin right there. That's validational. That's not like, yeah, I want to, he's going to pay me to fuck me. No, she wants to fuck him. That's validational. Those are the 4.5%ers. Those are the guys who are hot enough that women will do stuff like that, will initiate contact with that guy. Most men will never experience that. That's why transactional sex seems like the most natural. That's all women are whores. Except for your mother, and your dad thinks so. Let's see. Here we go. Can a girl like Melina shut her legs for an alpha? Shut her legs for an alpha? No. Open her legs for an alpha? That's actually the question you should have asked. He should have slapped Chris Rock. He should have slapped Chris Rock. Apparently, it works well in broken marriages. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, thanks for your great work. Can you please, YOLO, can you please explain the boyfriend destroyer routine? I can, but it would be much better if you just simply read about it, which is in this book right here, The Boyfriend Destroyer Routine. It's that's old school. That's old school PUA, by the way. It's really a set of like conversational cues and things that you could say that sort of like downplay the boyfriend and upplay yourself. But I outline it quite in great detail in the Player's Handbook. Hey Rollo, second time super chatter. Okay, cool. I noticed trends among the women I've encountered. They're more likely to have some form of BPD. 2, they have a tendency to try to tear down a man's castle when a man leaves her. Why is that? Okay, so first off, BPD is borderline personality disorder. Now, I've done dedicated shows to borderline personality disorder. And then again, speaking of which, if in the Player's Handbook as well, there's a full dedicated chapter to BPD girls. I've had personal experience with BPD, with my BPD girlfriend when I was in my mid-20s. And I'll tell you, it's not fun. And whenever anybody tells me, hey, Rollo, how do I keep my BPD girlfriend? How do I cope with it? I'm like, no, don't, leave, eject, next, now, get out. Here. This is what you got to do. Get the fuck out. That is the best policy. If you suspect that your girlfriend is BPD, get out. Just get out. That's number one. But I think a lot of people misdiagnose BPD in women just as much as they misdiagnose like autism or Asperger's syndrome in guys. Like guys will self-diagnose themselves. I got Asperger's syndrome. I think I'm on the spectrum. Unless you have been diagnosed and you're taking like medication for it, just because you're asocial and you lack the social, like you never learn social skills, that doesn't mean you actually have a clinical problem. And you probably could get over it. But the thing is, I think autism / Asperger's syndrome is overdiagnosed or overdiagnosed is the best way I can, like self-diagnosed. BPD, on the other hand, if a woman is like a bitch, it doesn't necessarily mean she's like got BPD. Borderline personality disorder is a very specific set of behaviors and thought patterns or whatever. And a lot of women today tend to exhibit a lot of those symptoms of a borderline personality disordered woman. For example, by the way, borderline personality disorder is part of the cluster B personality disorders. And I believe this is borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and I want to say it's asocial personality disorder. Those four, that's the cluster B, those cluster B personalities. Okay. So it's part of those. So a lot of that gets crossed over. So you could have like people who have like narcissistic personality disorder that also have, or, symptomatically seem like they have borderline personality disorder. So when I was kind of like armchair diagnosing like Meghan Markle, and I was saying, oh, she's got BPD, look, she's classic BPD. And then like some people checked me on that and they said, no, she's more like NPD, like narcissistic personality disorder. And then I looked at it and I go, yeah, you're probably right. So first of all, don't deal with it is number one. They have a tendency to tear down a man's castle. Okay. Well, yeah, it's called divorce. It's called, I'm taking everything I possibly can. I can get out. Right. Again, the reason why that happens is because here's my explanation. These are the dots that Rollo is connecting here. People can disagree with me on this if they'd like to. I think one of the reasons why some women, most women, adopt a scorched earth policy when they leave a relationship is because it is an anger that is fueled by losing time, by investing in a relationship that wasn't worth a fuck. You got to remember that, and here I'll point this out. It's easier if I put you right here. If you look at the peak years right here, especially like say 23 years old. Now, if a woman is in her peak agency years between say 18 and 28 years old, as I've sort of mentioned right there, and a woman puts like 4 of those years, 4 of that 10-year span, she puts 4 of those into a guy. It could be as simple as 4 years, right? And then she starts at 26. She is out of the relationship by 30. And now she has a loss on that capital, a loss on that agency. So like Myron will always say something like this. And I think it's an allegory, and we're not supposed to use metaphors on the internet, but it's an apt one. When you see that a woman has like 18 to 28, if you look at that 10-year window and that woman commits herself to a bad bet, like a guy who's like, oh, he's going to be the winner. He's going to cross the finish line. Women wait at the finish line to fuck the winners. But some women have to invest in a man's personal potential. If that doesn't pay dividends, the anger that comes from having invested her sexual agency or like wasting it, it's really sunk cost is what it comes down to. Yeah. Is it sunk cost? I'm pretty sure that's the term for it. It's sunk cost, or it's, what is it? Oh, opportunity cost. It's the opportunity cost that creates that anger that leads to that. I want to destroy. I'm just going to fuck him up before I leave I think that's where the anger originates from anyways. So, let's see where to go. There we go. Back to it. Abbas. Hey, Professor Rollo, how does the red pill principle, she's not yours, it was just your turn, apply to Cuck and Melina, because they didn't even have a monogamous relationship? Good. We'll come. Hold on. Hold that thought. I'm going to keep you started. I want to keep going here to clear out some of these other ones. I will come back to that. I went through a nasty divorce a few years ago, and I'm alienated from my daughter today. Every time I try to fix it, I'm defeated. Yes, because she already has your daughter's ear. My ex is making no effort to have positive role models around my daughter. I feel lost. I feel hope lost. Yeah. You and a lot of other people, including Lauren Southern's ex-husband too, by the way. We can reheat that topic again if we'd like to. Yeah, I know that it's called parental alienation is what it is. In fact, there's a whole section in divorce court where you can actually if you feel like that's been something like your ex-wife has been sabotaging you. That's actually I should probably talk about that with James Sexton at some point. Like it's called parental alienation. It's also something that like psychologists will look for too. So I'm sorry that's happening to you. Fuck. Net worth rising. Don't forget the BV stunt he pulled at the medical records. Oh yeah. Oh, that old thing. Do not offer him help. He hurt many troubled young men by smearing your work and continues to do so. Yes. Yeah. But I will tell you this is so here's why I'm conflicted. I don't have like a mission statement or a goal doing what I do, but I will say this is I don't want anyone to experience what my brother-in-law had to go through or Anthony Bourdain had to go through. I don't want to see any more deaths of despair as a result of not understanding the red pill, not having this awareness, right? I have met so many guys who have had a very similar story saying something to the effect of like, Rollo, I was going to off myself on a particular date and I didn't because I found your work and it explained everything for me. And now I have a better, more accurate understanding of what's been going on. And I thought, oh man, I literally dodged a bullet, right? And that I think is a worthwhile. If people say, what's your goal? Why did you, Rollo, when did you get red pilled, right? People think it's when my brother-in-law ended up hanging himself, right? People think that's when that happened. It happened long. My red pilling was very progressive. It happened over the course of like years, but people tend to think that was like sort of the catalyst because they want to find some sort of like flashpoint moment that really, oh, he was a nice guy. And then this happened and it ruined him. That was definitely an event for sure, but it's much more than that. But I don't want to see anybody go through that. I've had to deal with self-deletion twice in my life. One, my brother-in-law, and then I had a good friend here, like in Reno, who used to be a DJ here in Reno, a DJ as in a radio DJ, and he swallowed a bullet because he literally couldn't live without the girlfriend that had left him. And it's that you want to know. I mean, the catalyst for male self-deletion usually comes from divorce or a split up or a breakup. And again, it's that investment. You want to know why like women want to do like scorched earth when they exit a relationship? Why is it that guys are 8 times more likely to off themselves after a bad breakup or a divorce? Because it's a loss of that investment. Like it's rebuilding. It's the zeroing out. I had to like explain this in no uncertain terms to Robert Kiyosaki when he was divorcing Kim Kiyosaki, who he still to this day calls his soulmate. And, and thank God, he didn't delete himself. I love Robert Kiyosaki, and not just, if you know you probably know Robert Kiyosaki as the author and everything. I know him as a person and I really love him like a brother. But man, that some of that shit, like that soulmate myth and that blue pill stuff is really hard to dig out of a guy. So anyways, yeah, don't worry about that. I'm definitely going to temper my fury with a little bit of magnanimity. Oh my Lord.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
A personal Big Mo quote. I like to say, you will either find your way to the red pill or women will make you find your way to the red pill. That is very, very true. You get another one of those.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
I too anticipated this debacle coming sooner or later. Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Mo, because I also wanted to point out, I called this on Rule 0 as far back as I think June. But I think what's funny about this whole thing is like, as soon as this started making the rounds on social media, everyone came out of the woodwork. What's that guy, that dude from the self-righteous prick on whatever podcast, that guy, the Christian dude. I knew this was going to happen. I foretold this. Lila Rose is probably just like, I knew this was going to happen. Every self-righteous fuck in the manosphere or the, adjacent to the manosphere, they're all going to claim that they were Nostradamus about like this happening. It's like, you don't have to have the, oh, let's see. I think Destiny and Melina are going to, Magic 8 Ball. Are Destiny and Melina going to get a divorce? Signs point to yes. You don't need a Magic 8 Ball to figure that one out. Okay. So you get no prize for that one. You lose. But I think it's interesting how many people want to sort of like claim, like take a victory lap because of all this. And this is why I'm concerned that this is going to be a big, hose job. And Destiny is just going to laugh his fucking ass off when he goes, tricked you motherfuckers. We're actually staying together. Season's greetings, Sensei. Namaste. Keep hearing women and the uninitiated say, like a human. Can we get a reminder on what they mean? Oh, yes. Yes, you can. Is hypervigilance always necessary for men? Also, what is best in life?
Conan, what is best in life?
There you go. Is that what you wanted? Is that you wanted that sound drop? I'll give you the sound drop. So hypervigilance. And it all depends on what you mean, hypervigilant. I hate the word hypervigilance because like people go, what? I can never let my hair down. I can never be myself. Yourself should be hypervigilant. Here's how you get around that. You make yourself hypervigilant. That's your personality qualities. But okay, but I did like this part right here. We were talking about like a human. I wonder if I can find those for you. Hang on. I got this. I can give you an example of this really quickly. If I can go through. There we go. And let's see. Did I put this in? I might have put this in this folder. Hang on. Oh, maybe I don't have it on tap. Sorry. I thought I had these pictures on tap for you already. No, but so I wrote actually maybe Sam can pick it up. I wrote an essay called Boys Will Be Boys and Boys Will Be Good Humans. And the whole good human thing has been, a buzz term for a very long time. Amongst the wokesies, but more so amongst feminists. The reason I wrote that essay is because there was a trend during like 2018 when the big pussy hat paraders, the women's marchers, would come up with these placards for their children. They're usually their sons because they were single mothers, and they would have their sons and they would want to teach them how to be good humans, right? And so they would have these placards that would say like boys will be boys, and then except for the last boys in that sentence would be like crossed out and it would say good humans. Meaning that you're not a good human if you're a boy, right? Oh, boys are born bad. They're bad humans. But boys won't be boys. Boys will be good humans, which means what? Feminizing them. That's really what it comes down to. And again, it's qualitative. It's like there's a secular religion, and this is part of that secular religion. Rather than, thank you for that. No, that's actually not it. It's a different one. It was, is it Boys Will Be Boys? Maybe it is. It. I'm trying to see if I got it here. Oh no, I look up Good Humans. I think it's Good Humans, Sam. If you can pick that up for me, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to figure it out myself. All right, so there's that. But the Good Humans part is part of that secular religion, or it's the woke. I don't even call it secular because it's not really secular. It's a wokesy religion. And the wokesy religion is that you want to be considered a good human, right? And we all know what a good human is because it's like us. It's ambiguous. It's almost like saying, real men do X. You don't know what a real man is, but here's what we think it is. Good humans. Thank you for that one. If you could put that in the chat, I would appreciate it. But here it is. These are great. We'll be allies. God, fuck, what a mind fuck that was back then. No, that's not it. Let me grab this. I'll put it on screen here. This is too good not to share with you. Man, I'm surprised the chats have lasted as long as they have. I thought we were going to be bogged down by now. Good humans. So this is what I was talking about. Let's see if I can put this up for you. Man, when did I write this? 2018? February 9th, 2018. Rollo Tomasi. See, anytime you think that I don't have a history in this. Boys will be boys / boys will be allies. And by the way, that's another watchword. You're never a man. You're an ally. Men and women. No, women and allies is what it comes down to. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, there we go. This is the picture I wanted to show you guys because I grabbed the collage of these. Boys will be boys. Boys will be good people. Boys will be good humans. Boys will be good humans. Blah, 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 blah. This was the press for the idea that boys were not good in the first place back in the day. So that's really where that comes from. It's an extension of that. It's really the cult of the child is what it comes down to. But cult of the child is actually using your children, using your kids as ideological human shields. And that's a good example of it. Whenever I see a post on Reddit on an open marriage, a turned involuntary one way open, it shows blue pill men use a frame of fairness to their ends. They can't view relationships as a mutual agreement. Okay. Okay. So I want to I'm going to point this out. That's actually a pretty good one to keep around too. Hang on. Valor Beast. Thank you for your contribution, my friend. Is this Daryl? I was with a BPD woman, tried to kill herself with a car, carbon monoxide, and in her house, the airbag saved her. Dude, please do a topic on this. I have a 6-year story and have my own home for 2 years. Okay, good for you. I have done these before. I have done I have done dedicated shows for. There's Mo.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
My prediction came from what I learned in book 2 and preventive medicine and book 4 and religion. Yeah, religion. Thank you, Big Mo. Getting back to this, Daryl. Yeah, I've done dedicated shows about borderline personality disorder. They're in my archive, but it's been a while, so you're probably right. I probably should do a review on that. And then also, you have to be really careful with topics like BPD because it's I'm not a clinical psychologist, and so I will get called to the carpet by people who are clinical psychologists, and then people who actually have BPD looking for sympathy. So, but no problem. I can do that again. I can definitely take that under. I'll put it in the great big book of everything. Is it fair to say that the majority of evolutionary psychology books would not be able to be written today? Yeah, it would. Red Queen, Promiscuity. I don't know if I would call it. I guess Red Queen would qualify as a Evo Psych. Promiscuity by Tim Burkhead, for sure. Hormonal by Dr. Marty Hazelton. Yeah, I think they could still be written, but I don't think that they would be very well received. So, yeah, because there's been a paradigm shift, let's say, in Evo Psych. I wanted to also point out a few other things here. Where did I put that? We're coming upon this part of the show right now, and I need to show you guys this. This will sort of finish out our destiny topic here. These are probably not going to be in order, but let's see if I can call them up. Oh boy, we used the Jack Murphy thing today. I can't believe I did that. Okay. All right, this is what was given to me. Oh, thank you, PP. Ah, there's PP. Hold on. PP. Thank you, PP, for your continued support. The number one super chatter, number one supporter of the show, Thank you very much. Always a pleasure. No, the pleasure is mine. Thanks, PP. Okay, I'm gonna share these with you. I don't know if I hope these are in order. They're probably not in order, but let me see if I can parse these out for you here. This is what was sent to me by my anonymous spies who will go nameless for now. One of these you've probably already seen, so let's share the screen. And is it this one? Yes. These were what was shared with me not too long ago. Okay, this is what I got from the DGG Relay, and this is a discussion between Destiny and a DGG Relay. I think maybe Chud Logic has already covered this, but I'm going to cover it anyways. This is the one that you just saw in that. By the way, this is all. I'm not doxing anybody. This is all. You can grab this anywhere. If the Sun has this, anybody can get this. Don't think I'm special. Okay. Let's see, Destiny. Yeah, I wanted to have a massive therapy session to see if I could express herself. Like, still reaching for that emotionalism. If I could express myself better and iron out some of the boundaries. What fucking boundaries, brah? She's living at the dude's house. You fuck other girls and other guys. What boundaries could there possibly be that would, we're done. But it's hard for me to ask for anything if I've been a pushover for so many years. You've been a pushover since that first video, man. Sleepy Runt, why? This proves every point I've ever made. Girls can leave you for jobless, manipulative losers if they just play their cards right. You mean, let's see, mate switching hypothesis is bullshit?
Guilty, guilty,
yes.
guilty. Say my name.
Josh, yeah, me. Discovering boundaries was the death knell in this relationship. So you just now discovered boundaries. Congratulations, Destiny. I'm glad we finally come to the boundaries part, which, by the way, I'm going to explain something to you guys here. You know what? I got to put this off. both of these topics, everything that I've talked about, like I named today's show, She's Not Yours, It Was Just Your Turn. I just wrote about this on my Substack. If you're not subscribed to my Substack, you can be a free member if you want. If you want to be a member, it's $10 a month. If you want to be a year membership, it only costs you $90. That's it. I'm a cheap hooker. So please support me on Substack. But I just wrote my last 2 essays, in fact. First one, or the last one, was She's Not Yours, It's Just Your Turn. And the one before that was boundaries. Both of these topics right here. So just to give you a better idea. Yeah, you found boundaries finally. Now, let's, maybe we should just pause here for just a second. Boundaries. What does Rollo Tomasi say about boundaries? Boundaries have to be enforced. They are not. Boundaries demonstrate, do not explicate. You're expressing yourself in a fucking, marriage counseling thing means nothing. Hypergamy doesn't care, Destiny. Hypergamy doesn't care. She's with this guy probably because she wants to get away from you. I would say that the slap in the face in all of this is not that she's getting together with Harry Styles or whatever the guy's name is. It's because she wants to she's already checked out of the marriage. She checked out of the marriage long before any of this happened. And it's probably not helping that the dude is like addicted to Vyvanase right now and probably can't get his pecker hard. But be that as it may, she's probably been trying to exit this for quite some time and still been like playing the role because that's what people expect of her. And if she doesn't play that role, then she's fucked. And so is Destiny for that matter too. They've ever since the Lex Friedman interview between them when they're talking about open marriage and shit like that. Yeah. It's been, and how do I know this? Well, I will tell you because there are very many behavioral cues or similarities, let's say, between Robert Kiyosaki and Kim Kiyosaki. Really, we got to hold up. They have an empire. They have the Rich Dad Poor Dad empire, man. They have appearances to keep up. I couldn't broadcast. I couldn't publish the very first interview that me and Fresh did with Robert Kiyosaki back in like 2021. Because Kim Kiyosaki's people wouldn't allow it because they were trying to keep up appearances, not unlike Lauren Southern keeping her wedding ring on when she was long since divorced that I called out. That was the beginning of the end. Yeah, keeping up appearances. I saw, by the way, yes, I did see Lauren Southern talking to Tammy Peterson. I'm just like, you are she's a pathological liar. I mean, I'm watching this. I'm like, you are pathological. It's like there's this little world that she lives in. It's like, bitch, you kept your ring on, your wedding ring on, for God knows how long to keep up appearances so that you would look like you're some good conservative trad con, hunting in the forest somewhere in Canada, where the fuck it is. You're a fraud. You've been a fraud from day one. And when somebody finally calls you out on it, you got to go and find some bullshit way to, manufacture dirt on somebody for it. The very fact that they would go to that extent leads me to believe there's a lot more to this than they are letting on. I'm also going to be, it's going to be interesting to me anyways, to see who throws Destiny under the bus. Is it going to be Melina? Like I fully expect, because this is the kind of shit that happens. I fully expect somebody like Melina or somebody who knows Melina will come to me and say, Rollo, here's the real dirt. Make it public. I know you hate that. I know you hate him and I hate him now too. So here's what really happened. I'm totally expecting that to happen. And there's an aftermath to this, but let's keep going with the rest of this stuff here so I don't bore you. There's that. Destiny, I'll have a small conversation when I'm back about things. I'm not going to nuke Melina or anything. This is from the article. But the last 2 months and 2 weeks have been a massive mindfuck for me, watching her become obsessed with a toxic, abusive guy. When I visited Sweden last, he gave Mel an ultimatum to divorce me and then threatened to off himself. When he didn't do it, among 20 other abusive, manipulative things, he's done. And endlessly make excuses for him, so I'm out. Remember, she was living with this guy at the time, or like functionally living with the guy. Anyway, have fun with the movies for 3 days, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is DGG Relay. Josh, me discovering boundaries was the death knell for this relationship. That was that. I think I already read this. Massive therapy session, which is going to do absolutely nothing. That was also part of that. And then what was this one? Sorry, these were out of order. My bad. FCSD. The problem isn't the person being manipulative. The problem is the difference in how we treat our spouse. Destiny, if girls want to get close to me, historically, they know the only way they could ever do it was sometimes by exaggerating how much they like Melina. Because shitting on Melina or attacking my wife gets you instantly cut out of my life. Lauren Southern much? But for Melina, the way to get closer to her was always by shitting on me. Because she loved the emotional validation of people making her feel like every single problem in the relationship was my fault. Destiny Spawn, I had a toxic problem with blaming myself for every single problem ever in any of my relationships ever. So I figured if something was wrong, it was always on me to fix it. Yeah, we know, because he's very self-defeating. The reason why this is one reason why I think that this isn't bullshit. Because whenever I've had, confrontations, or I've ever had like debates with Destiny, it's usually him defending womankind. It's usually and see if I can get this bigger for you. Sorry. It's usually him making efforts to defend the poor little vulnerable ladies. And it's what I expect from most blue pill guys, most autistic blue pill guys, is to be like a white knight. Destiny just takes it to the nth degree because he's got that sort of spurgy autistic way of just like OCDing on shit like this. But at the core of it, it comes down to this emotionalism versus empiricism is what it comes down to. So everything is his fault. It's because he's a man, because he's got a dick hanging between his legs, I think, and he. The fact that he would blame himself, it's not just even so much that's rooted in the idea that men ought to be blamed for everything, that they owe women a better life. Mel just wants validation over here. I wanted a massive therapy session, blah, blah, blah. Mel just wants validation, and this guy is willing to do anything for her. You want to know why she's leaving? This is it. He has no job, no life. Everything revolves around her. He changes his sleep schedule when he travels to talk to her constantly. I'll touch on that a little bit. Yeah, the boundaries and everything in my relationship are absolutely fucking insane, but I never complain publicly because I didn't want to make Melina look bad. So there's that looking bad thing, keeping up appearances. Jabot, I'm fine. This is the last toxic holdover I have from my past, so here it is, all good for me. I didn't want to complain because I don't want to make my wife look bad, because we're supposed to be a married team, but she has no problem dumping on me to literally dozens and dozens of people. So funny, people saying another Bob 7. Oh, yeah. Not realizing that there were like 50 Bob 7s. I presume that was one of the guys that she was like fucking around with. Let's see. Anything else in here? I think these are all pretty much the same shit. Oh, this is what I thought was interesting. So I want to catch up on this one. For Melina, it was always a way to get closer to her was by shitting on me, because she loved the emotional validation of people making her feel like every single problem in the world was my fault. Because I had a toxic problem of blaming myself, yada yada. Jeepers. They seemed okay, because 3 days ago, before Mel was supposed to leave forever, this guy did something else insanely toxic, horrible. Then Mel kind of warmed up to what I was asking for. Then in a day, she forgave everything again and is now back in it. I told her that her and all of her shit needs to be gone before I'm back on the 9th. At least, oh gosh, thank you, Destiny. At least she like picked up on the boundaries thing. Yes, a good troll is me spending 5 days off stream, death spiraling. Absolutely epic. Yeah, great. Let's see. So they say, yes, that's when he gave Mel an ultimatum to divorce me. When she didn't answer for a few hours, he begged her to come back that night. When she said no, he threatened to commit suicide if she didn't. Destiny. Things have been kind of rocky since then. I was kind of happy, to be honest. I figured he'd outed himself and Mel would disengage, but she has made more excuses for his behavior than I've ever seen in my life. It's insane. You mean kind of like what she did to the other guy when you poached her? Sognick, not even that. Laughing my ass, LMO. He's lied about things she's said to friends, lied about things her friends have said, all to cut her off from her friends and isolated her until the only friend group she has left. Okay. Anyways, this is just he said, she said bullshit. Just get rid of that. All right. So, anyways, there you go. That's pretty good. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So that was the communiques that I got. I'm sure probably other people have this too. It's again, you can go find that on the DGG site. Somebody just sent that to me. Anyways, there you go. You called it. Are you sure you called it? I think I called it. Who called it? Anybody else call it? I called it. Did you call it? Wait, we should have our own Discord server. People who called it the divorce coming before it did. Last but not least, I want to also throw this out here while I'm here because I got a couple other things I want to get into. But what this really is a representation of what we have done with marriage. What is marriage right now? One of the questions I always ask when I'm on like Access Vegas, or if I could be on Fresh and Fit too, but what I ask on Access Vegas is this: is like when I see women who are in poly relationships, or for instance, like Jay Waller, Michael Sartain, who, as you know, are both good friends of mine. But if I talk to women who get into sort of poly relationships, for lack of a better term, they get into thruples, they get into multiples, whatever. What constitutes cheating? And I think this is what throws off a lot of tradcons. So tradcons, Daily Wire people who I know troll my show and watch my show, here's some free content for you. What you really need to be asking yourself is, do you actually have a problem with poly? Do you actually have a problem? Is it like, of course you have a spiritual problem with it, biblically, I guess it's wrong, but well, put that aside for a moment. What I think the problem that you're having is not so much a spiritual problem. I think it's a definition problem, because I pointed this out, and I've said this on this show before. And yeah, cheating is whatever the woman says. Yeah, in a closed on his end, closed on her end. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, that's actually a pretty good one. So, what constitutes cheating? I have my relationship with my wife. I'm going to explain to you what cheating would be to Rollo Tomas. My wife going and fucking some other guy. That would be it. That would be cheating. That would be done. That would be that is the capital offense. That is scorched earth. That is done. One and done. That's it. Because in that situation, it is not a question of, oh, you got to rebuild the trust, blah, 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 blah. No. It's not about trust. It's about desire. It's about loss of desire. And that would be it. That would be the end of it. And I'm going to show you a couple, and no pandering and no bullshit. That would be it. Done. Okay. So that's real for me. It's real easy. And I think most people in closed on her end, closed on your end relationship, the classic marriage, that's usually the way it is. Okay. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I don't mean to be controlling. My bad. But so how does that work if you're Mike Sartain? How does that work if you're Justin Waller? You've got your main, you got your baby mama, you got your wife in some cases, and you get side pieces, and you can fuck girls. Whether your wife goes out or your girlfriend goes out and pulls and brings in the girls for you is kind of immaterial. So what constitutes cheating? Well, I've asked Mike this before, and he said, well, if she went out and got something on the side, it's closed on her end, right? So if she fucks around, that's cheating, right? That's the boundaries. That's what's been established as the doctrine of the relationship. Now, if they're both fucking the girl in bed, that, they both say, hey, I like her. You like her? Yeah, I like her too. Let's bring her in, right? That's not cheating. That's just them having a good time with a girl. Now, if Mike falls in love with another woman, is that considered cheating? And now suddenly it's like all of the investment that like Kylie's put into the relationship. Now she's fucked. Like this is me, but I would say that would be cheating, right? So what's like crossing the boundary? What's the line? And then there's the situation with an open relationship. And the open relationship is, do you like what I mean, I just read you the Jack Murphy blog, but we're going to focus on Destiny here. Like what concept, what's a boundary? What the fuck is a boundary at that point? living with the guy in Sweden, getting out of the house, you're done, right? But why even call it a marriage at that point? And I think that's what really throws off conservatives right now, especially the Lila Roses and the Michael Knowles and everyone else, is that we're redefining marriage right now. We're trying to figure out how to do marriage in the 21st century. And it doesn't gel with an old order 20th century model or 20th century spirituality or whatever you want. It doesn't have to be Christianity. It's also, you could be Muslim too, right? Although you can have 4 wives in Islam. But the idea of an open marriage as something that is sustainable, that can keep going, like you can be, we're going to be in an open marriage when we're 90. No, you're not. I can tell you emphatically, no, you are not. So the thing is this, is like, what is the boundary? And now suddenly he's like, oh, I suddenly discovered boundaries. Well, yeah, moving to Sweden is a boundary. I guess she crossed that line. But I don't think that traditionalists or tradcons really understand that the predicament that they're in. It's like Aaron Clary says, we live in a post-marriage society and nobody has realized it yet. Nobody wants to accept it yet. And all of the stuff that we see when we see Adam 22, whoring out Lena the plug in some big engagement media, plan. Is that cheating? She's fucking another guy. It would be cheating in my book, be cheating in my relationship, and my relationship's doctrine, that would be cheating, but not in his. But yet they can still call themselves, married. I've seen the wedding pictures. Like he posted them, like Adam 22 and Lena, she wore a white dress. They're married. So is Justin Waller. So is Destiny. They're married. I don't think, I guess Jack Murphy wasn't married. Katie Hill. Do you guys know who Katie Hill is? Katie Hill used to be a congresswoman from, I think, California, until she started fucking around with one of her staffers, who was a female as well, like a lesbian thing, right? But they had an open marriage until such time as Katie started taking a liking to one of her bulls, I guess. And then the jealous husband, outed her, and she had to step down as a congresswoman as a result of that. This happened in 2018, 2019. Maybe it's 2020. I'm not sure. Anyway, of course. And then what does she do? She says, well, I should be able to do this. It doesn't matter if I have OnlyFans. I'm still an effective congresswoman. And this is it's because of this patriarchal, misogynist, infrastructure of politics today. It's just misogyny. I just don't know what to do. Yeah. Katie Hill, go look her up. She was very vocal about it. She's gone now. I don't think she's made a big noise for a while. But Katie Hill was in a poly relationship. Where is she now? Is that something that's sustainable? And I've asked everybody that I know, do you think that you're going to still be able to have, you're going to invite girls into your bed when you're in your 70s? And, maybe that's what they think. When you have kids, when you have children running around the house, do you think you're going to be able to go out on a Friday night, go pick up a girl, or still have that access to go and fuck other chicks? Maybe that's going to limit you from things. That was really the basis of the fundamental idea behind the vasectomy tweet that I threw out there. The quickest way to being a high value guy is avoid family, avoid marriage, get a vasectomy so you don't get a paternity suit and get baby trapped, and stay on top of your game. Never let you resist the lure of easing up on your focus. Stay in shape, blah, blah, all the other things you don't remember except for vasectomy, right? All that stuff. Yeah. Well, that was really about, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice family? Are you willing to sacrifice marriage? Are you willing to sacrifice, are you going to, snip your junk so you don't get baby trapped? What are you willing to sacrifice so that you can get to the top of your game? That's really what it was a question about. Then everybody loses their mind because they take it completely out of context. But that's really what it was about. And really that comes back to the marriage question and what are boundaries? What are you going to do? This is the most logical outcome of a poly open relationship. You're experiencing it. Suddenly you discovered boundaries. And you know what? Boundaries are anathema to an open relationship. The more boundaries, the more likely it is to fail. If you have boundaries at all, it's going to fail. That's how it works. How do I know? I'm going to show you just in 1 minute here. We'll start at the top. I even have a folder. So where's the proof, Rollo? Where's the proof, Rollo? Here's the proof. Let's share my screen with you fine fellows today. I'm just going to review these because I have an entire folder on my Twitter account that is dedicated to this stuff. Here we go. Let's start with Rolf. Men were 6 times more likely or more open to polygyny than women, but there was little sex difference in openness to polyandry, meaning women with many men, obviously. Why do you suppose that is? What evolutionary phenomenon and systems could possibly be attributed to this? Right. This is from the Springer link. These are all research. Like the great thing about Rolf Degan is that he's a consummate statistician. He keeps these are all from like psychological research papers that he basically pops off with all the time. Perhaps the clearest and least surprising finding across 2 studies was that singlehood and monogamy were seen as much more desirable than multi-partner relationships. At the same time, a large minority of participants were open to the idea of polygamous relationships despite cultural forces pushing against it. The sex differences uncovered in our research were consistent with parental investment theory. Thank you very much. I will take my red pill cool points right now. Men were much more open to the relationship, which allows the opportunity to impregnate multiple women, polygyny, than women were, and were less open to relationships, which might act as a barrier to fitness, polyandry. Unlike men, increased sexual access does not allow women to have more children or children increase offspring variability. As such, the small preference for polyandry over polygyny in women likely reflects differences in opportunities to enhance fitness through their partner's investment. Again, it's sexy sons. There you go. Moving on. Thank you, Arcs, for this one. Again, this is another tweet from a study. It's women's leading this relationship revolution, explains the author and social researcher Wednesday Martin. Okay, the more empowered women become, the more you will see women saying, "I'm done with monogamy." That was a good one. I will be happy to give you supply all of these links to you. This was back on the Daily Signal. This is from back in like 2019. The American Psychological Association says monogamy is the new bigotry. According to these mental health experts, open marriages are the tolerant approach to intimacy. And they've launched a task force to prove it to the world. And if you want to go pick up on that, you can go read that. Moving on. De facto polygyny. Norway, one of the most gender egalitarian countries in the world, as you all know, right? Norway can, in other words, be a country where many men have never fathered children, even though its fertility rate is high. What actually happens often is that men who are already fathers get recycled. Women here, red pill point in case, or red pill principle maxim. Women would rather share a high value alpha than be saddled with a faithful beta. Bravo. Red pill wins again. Claire Lehman, who actually I like very much. The work of anthropologist Beverly Strassman is relevant here. She found the odds of death for children in polygynous households were 7 to 11 times higher than children in monogamous households among the Dogon and the Mali. These were just like tribal studies and stuff. There's also more supporting work for that too. I think it was The Economist that did a breakdown on this. That more countries that have polygyny as a standard tend to be more war torn and tend to be more like third world countries. Women, Scott Berryman, doctor. Women are actually more likely than men to express interest in non-monogamous relationships and be able to handle the logistics of making it work. Thank you also, Justin Lehman, for that. Marty Hazelton, my favorite girl on planet Earth. Link to the recent monogamy versus polygamy debate. That was back in 2020. Very good talk. You can find it on YouTube. Rob Henderson. Researchers studied polygynous households in more than 50 different cultures. co-wives engage in some of the most intense violence that occurs between women. A woman and her children do better when she is in a strong monogamous relationship with a man. Got it? Here we go. The idea of open relationships is likely to be the most attractive to those who see them as having higher quality relationship options. And this is where I really want to dig in. We use the investment model framework to examine what relationship features are associated with the interest in and positive evaluations of consensual non-monogamy among individuals in monogamous relationships. In data sets from the United States, Europe, and Korea, perceptions of higher quality alternatives were consistently associated with the more interest in consensual non-monogamy. Further consistent with the previous work on commitment-motivated relationship maintenance processes, that's a mouthful, we found support for an indirect effect whereby lower commitment was associated with higher perceived attractiveness of alternatives, meaning I'm gonna have my fun. I'm gonna fuck because women want to fuck me, right? Which in turn was associated with more interest in consensual non-monogamy. Surprise. The data suggests that the idea of consensual non-monogamy is likely to be the most attractive to those who see themselves as having higher quality relationship options, that they can go out there and fuck. Okay, Rob Henderson, finally, monogamy reduces the ability of men to exploit women by creating greater equality. Under polygyny, males can exploit women quite ruthlessly without suffering any of the costs themselves. As a result of imposed monogamy, males behaved in a less exploitative way towards their female partners. I would take issue with that. Simply because, well, that might have been true prior to the sexual revolution, which we're going to talk about in just a second. If I can do so. Yeah. Oh, all right. Let me run into these real quick because I got some good ones. All right. Thank you for your work. You saved me. Saying hi from the fishing village in Chile. Chile. Good. Catch me something. Give me Chilean sea bass. Hi, Rollo, brother. Your next dog has to be a Turkish Kengel. Really? Oh, and I have to look that up. In case of a bunch of pink hat harpies riding brooms come at you. By the way, they don't wear panties. Thank you. Sorry. So they can have their better breaking grip on the broomsticks. Thank you very much. You're very clever. All right, here we go. You get one of these. Found a girl who could maybe have potential for long-term family kids, but she's here on visa from South America and would eventually need papers. You have the golden ticket, my friend. Should I end things before it gets any more serious, since she'll eventually need marriage? Depends on kind of depends on where you're at. I would say yes. I would say break it off. That, like, generally speaking, because I'm supposed to be decisive according to Marquette, right? I would say generally speaking, yes. But in fact, you know what? I'm just going to say yes, period, because I think that you're in a position of the golden ticket. Women in other countries, like in the Philippines, women in where you say South America, women in foreign countries that see the United States as a prosperous, step up. You want to talk about hypergamy, marrying up? You're definitely got the golden ticket to marry up. You want transactional sex? There you go. Mail order brides, right? I'm just going to say eject. Here you go. You get one of these. Using Robert Kiyosaki, do men truly ever recover from oneitis, or do they just get good at faking it? Hard to say. My thought is men only allow themselves to suffer from oneitis. They may love again, but not be in love. Okay, so the whole soulmate myth thing kind of depends on just how weak that guy was and how long he'd been with that woman. A lot of guys depend. Like, do you remember the scene in The Matrix where it was the woman in the red dress scene? And all it is Neo. If you haven't seen this, go look it up. You can just find it. It's like maybe a 5 or 6 minute scene that you can probably dig up on YouTube. But it's the woman in the red dress scene. And I've actually written essays just on that one scene. But what it is it's Neo and Morpheus. And Morpheus is explaining to Neo the fundamentals of the Matrix, right? And he's walking around and he's seeing the the people that are around them in the matrix. This is just basically a simulation, right? He says, look around you. You know, these are the people who, like doctors, lawyers, you know, businessmen, blah, blah, blah. These are people who we are trying to unplug and to save as best we can. But these people have become so hopelessly dependent, hopelessly inured, I think is the word he used, on that system, on the matrix, that they will fight to stay in it. They will fight you to keep what has sustained them for so long. And it was really kind of then of course he sees the Smith agent and he looks at the girl in the red dress and he's not really paying attention. He just wants to get his pecker wet. But like, then there's the agent there ready to kill him. But before that one exchange of you know, dialogue there I thought was way more profound, in that you're in a system right now where people who are stuck in that blue pill system, people who are plugged in, they will fight you tooth and nail. Sometimes you come to blows because that's all they know. Like the poor kid that like ended up offing himself, you know, at Hunter Avallone's apartment right there. That's why I say kill the beta before it kills you. You have to be able to unplug and you have to get away from that. So that's really what it comes down to. And part of that is, of course, like the soulmate myth. And I would say that what motivates a guy like that to go and use a shotgun to, you know, express his emotions, that's rough. It's hard for them to sort of to wrap their heads around, because they are so hopelessly dependent on that blue pill belief set. That's why you get purple pill guys. You got guys who like, they think that they got this red pill knowledge and Rollo, I read your book, Rollo, it's great. Can I use it to get the girl of my dreams? No, you can't, because in my book, that's the definition of purple pill. It's you're trying to solve or you're trying to achieve your blue pill goals with red pill awareness. The problem is those blue pill goals are false to begin with. You need to have new red pill goals and achieve them with red pill awareness. But if you're trying to say, okay, I'm going to pull these parts out of the red pill that I think I agree with, they align with my religion and my ideology and my political bent, and I'm going to ignore and I'm going to be red pill adjacent about everything else, right? That's why when people would say something about like Andrew Tate, they go, I really like what he says. Men should get into the gym, and men should get their business on point and go to college and whatever it is. You know, they should really, you know, man up. They love that part. They don't like the part when they say women need to be submissive. They don't like the part where it's like when they draw comparison, they ask the wrong questions that might not align with whatever their ideologies are, because they're dependent on that system. Their egos, their personalities, their ego investments in those ideologies, in those religions, in those ideas is what limits them from becoming anything else or becoming more than that, from really truly unplugging. And so what do is they see this red pill stuff and they go, oh, let's pick and pull. Oh, I like what Tate had to say about working out. I liked what Tate had to say about making money. I liked what Tate had to say about, you know, manning up and being dominated, like, you know, owning your, a radical ownership or some shit, like whatever he lifted from Jocko Willink. They love that. And they think that part of the red pill is okay, but everything else is just misogyny. You know, that's where to go. Here we go. Misogyny. That's what they think it is. But you don't, it's like you either eat the whole tamale or you don't eat it at all. And you're either dependent on that system or you're not. And they will fight you for that. And that's something to be aware of, I think, is that people will fight you. Oh, man, James Sexton, holy shit. We really need to have a talk about this one, because I want you to represent Destiny in this. I think it will be some great red pill lessons in this. Think of the money and the exposure you could get if you represented Destiny in his divorce hearings. God damn, that would be great. I think the two big takeaways are Rollo gets it right once again. Oh, okay. Say my name. And I'm not going to be out of work anytime soon. No, you are not, my friend. You know what's funny is like people ask me like, Rollo, do you think you're ever going to run out of topics? Haven't you covered everything in 20 years, right? Even you ever covered all these topics? No, I haven't, because there's always an Amber Heard and a Johnny Depp to cover sooner or later. I should also point this out. Destiny and Melina, divorced. Steven Crowder, divorced. Now, Steven Crowder also kind of taking the red pill, kind of like, becoming a little bit more red pill aware. And this is the Steven Crowder that like smugly self-righteously like popped off. I mean, remember, you guys don't even know this one, when Steven Crowder used to, like, I don't think did he work for Fox News? And when he first got married, remember, he got married because his wife was a virgin. He was a virgin. They did it right. They were from an evangelical church. And this is how closed on his end, closed on her end. This is how we did it the right way. And he wrote this I read it on this show, as a matter of fact, a very self-righteous letter about like how, marriage and family and God and country and everything else. I want you guys, here's your homework for the pod class. Here's your homework. I want you to go and like maybe review the Steven Crowder situation, or just maybe contemplate this for a second here. Steven Crowder, divorced, also becoming red pill. I don't necessarily know like how much so. Maybe it's just convenient. But also, if you can compare and contrast just the keeping up of appearances between in the Crowder marriage and the Bonnell marriage, like the Destiny marriage. I should also point out that he's 34 and she was 25. Melina's 25. And this was the same smug son of a bitch that said that no woman would ever do anything like that. No younger woman would ever get with an older guy like that. Like literally talking shit about like Kylie and Mike Sartain, right? Like I think it was a day or two after we were on whatever podcast, or we were on that. In fact, I think that was the only super chat he put in. If you look at our podcast, it's towards the end of the show when Destiny finally chimed in with a fucking with a $100 super chat. It was something to the effect of, "Oh, this would never happen in normal society or normal." Literally 34, she's 25. And by the way, she was younger than that. Remember, they've been married for like 2 years. So she was 23 and he would have been 32, somewhere around there. Well, you're right, James Sexton. Once again, things to keep in mind. Hey, Rollo, Burl Durham was my favorite sports movie, but in hindsight, was Crash Davis actually a simp? Yes. Okay, that's that. And let's see. I've already gone through those. God. I really want to run Gia McCool up the flagpole, but I'm not going to today. I really need to get into the manosphere and the radicalization process. I think maybe I'm just going to read this really quickly. This is, so in case people were wondering, I was sort of singled out in an NGO DHS study or whatever, the proposal, I should say. And really, I had no idea that this was actually even a thing right up until about last year when I was on Dr. Phil's show. And I'll point this out to you and I'll read this to you in just a second. But I was on Dr. Phil, and sitting across from me was Imran Ahmed. And I think I have done a couple of shows on Imran Ahmed, or just maybe in passing. Imran Ahmed was the executive CEO or something of an NGO called the Center for Countering Digital Hate. And it was the first time I had to do my homework on him because I knew I was in for a debate when I got onto the show. And I needed to know who this guy was and if he'd be coming at me. Now, his claim to fame was that he and the CCDH were the ones who were responsible for getting Andrew Tate canceled from YouTube and all his social media and his payment processors in August of 2022. I knew right then and there that he was full of shit because I knew what was going on. I was privy to everything that was going on during that time, courtesy of Justin Waller and, well, really actually even Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate at that time. So I knew he was full of shit. They really, the real story is this, is that the YouTube was really, it was the first time anybody had really gamed the YouTube algorithm successfully. They played YouTube's game better than they should have, essentially. It was very similar to the the plan or the I don't know, methods of like do you guys remember the GameStop / I think is it Century Theater short sell, the short stop, right? Or the short sell. And it was basically crowdsourcing stocks that they knew were going to tank. And so a bunch of people got into it and they ended up fucking up all these like Wall Street plans, bigwig plans. And then so, like what was it? Was it Robinhood? One of the trading sites was like had to actually AMC. Sorry, that's right, AMC theaters and GameStop, and it was basically crowdsourcing. Hey, we're all going to hold together. We're all going to buy this stock. We're going to sit on it. We're going to fuck the Wall Street bigwigs, right? Do you know who was actually in? If you haven't seen this, there is a documentary on Netflix about that short squeeze. Okay, that short squeeze. If you look in there, there's actually a segment in there that Andrew Tate is talking about it. He's there. He understood what was going on. So this is me spitball. He's very smart when it comes to shit like this. I'm dead certain he used something very similar for his affiliate marketing gig when he was getting all these other people to essentially game the YouTube algorithm by crowdsourcing, by having other people, sign up for the War Room, sign up for whatever it is, Hustlers University. And for $50 a month, so he's getting paid $50 a month from these guys so that they can rebroadcast his stuff over and over and over again. So he becomes a household name. And now imagine track with me here. Imagine if you had a political candidate that did something very similar to that. And there's now no violation of terms of service whatsoever. They're doing it exactly by the book. That's why they got canceled. Was because they gamed the YouTube algorithm. And then, of course, their content, of course, as well. But there's a lot of people who are like worse than Andrew Tate was. There's literally terrorist organizations on YouTube that they don't get canceled, but they canceled him. Why? Because he successfully he beat YouTube at their own game, just like the GameStop AMC crowdsourcing, the short squeeze beat them at their own game to the point where they had to Robinhood had to stop trades on those stocks. Oh, wait. We don't play like that. No. Those are the rules. Everybody here is playing by the rules. No. You're canceled. Same thing. But Imran Ahmed wanted to claim he wanted to take a victory lap because he needed a scalp. And the scalp was, we were the ones responsible for taking down Andrew Tate in August of 2022. No, you fucking didn't. And I explained this to him during the show on Dr. Phil. Now, I was like, why is this guy trying to why is he posting up on me? Because they wanted me to be a proxy for Andrew on that show. And then I realized this is that his NGO, CCDH, the Center for Countering Digital Hate, doesn't get any money unless they can show results, unless they have a scalp, unless they've got a head on a spike somewhere. They don't get that funding unless they prove that they're actually doing something. Well, guess what? That organization isn't the only one there is. There are several other NGO watchdog organizations that watch for digital hate, that watch for, domestic terrorism, that watch for all these other things. And what they're trying to do right now is make the manosphere the next, panic, the next crisis. The next thing that's gonna, these incels, I can't believe it. They're gonna organize. And it's gonna be this incel beta male uprising. And Rollo's the one who's radicalizing them. And Pearl's the one who's radicalizing them. And Tate's radicalizing them. And the very fact that they even put my site, this channel as one of the examples on there, I'm like, I feel like I won an award. I'm like, really? Now, granted, this is a no-name site, but I'm going to read a few things to you here because this is off of Beck's site here, and this will help explain things. Anyways, this was covered by Alex Jones, well, not Alex Jones himself, but the other guy who reads the news on there. This was covered by them as well. So that's, if you see this on my Instagram or you see it on Twitter, this is where it comes from. So last but not least, I have to do this. I would be remiss if I didn't get onto this topic today. So this is the tweet this is where it really starts. Now, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more backstory to this as well. And I'm probably going to end up having to do a dedicated show to this so people know what's going on. Assuming I don't get raided before then. All right, here we go. The manosphere is not the start of the incel radicalization process, but I know what is. First off, if you are following LaMarcus Small of Incel Co., here are some things you should be aware of. LaMarcus Small owns the Incel forum. This forum, by the way, is also the forum that was used by William Costello to do his doctoral thesis research on to determine what incels were really all about, right? He also owns a website that profits off of encouraging people to self-delete and is linked to hundreds, if not thousands, of deaths. Okay, this was, she takes a dig at Not So Erudite here. So you can look at this. This is the mailing list. This is LaMarcus Small. He's the owner of this. Got it. If you want the links, they're right there. You can find, I've already retweeted this several times. LaMarcus Small handed his incel forum over to a Department of Homeland Security funded NGO called Light Upon Light in 2019. They operated the forum for 2 years. Okay, so from 2019 to 2021. LaMarcus Small's co-founder, Diego Galante, was recruited by Light Upon Light using the pseudonym Alexander Ash. Galante co-authored articles and contributed to research for Homeland Security and academia, in academia being, I'll highlight that part, in what appeared to be a covert attempt to rebrand incels as simply misunderstood. This biased data continues to be cited by academia today, okay? Also, the source of William Costello's incel research. This is the forum that they recruited from and paid these guys to do their survey. LaMarcus Small uses affiliations with academic researchers on Twitter to attract more people to his website. Got it? William Costello, Date Psych, Alexander, looking at you, Chris Williamson, and others in academia, in the academia manosphere, such as it is, make up a large portion of Incel Co's Twitter traffic, whereas the manosphere figures targeted by the DHS censorship campaigns, such as me, the Rational Male, Pearly Things, and Cobra Tate, do not engage with Incel Co. or even promote men being incels. So this is the nuts and bolts of this. So this is Chris Williamson here. Are you a UK or US incel? If so, get paid to participate in the largest incel study ever conducted, or have your participation fee donated to charity. Learn more about these researchers, yada, yada, yada. Got it? So this was back in May of 2023. And this is when I became really hypercritical of this because it was just bad research. There's no rigor. There's no checks and balances. Like if you know anything about doing a real experimentation, or if you know anything about doing surveys, this was simply bad. And the only reason anybody was taking notice of this is because William Costello also happens to be in the same, the same group or the same study as Dr. David Buss, who put his stamp of approval on this. So even Dr. David Buss is implied in all of this crap. Okay, the state-funded NGOs are lying when they say that the manosphere influencers on Twitter are sending men down the incel radicalization pipeline, which, by the way, is something I had to defend against with Marquette, whatever his name, on Satan's Sinner, not too long ago. Oh, these guys are just incels in their black pill and they're despondent, nihilistic, self-loathing freaks because of the red pill. No, they're not. In reality, it's the NGO researchers that are more to blame. Create a problem, provide a solution. William Costello, a leading incel researcher, knows about the suicide site and blocked me for asking him why he won't speak out about it. Related, his whole career relies on grants for studying incels. In fact, I'm going to take this one further and explain to you that his doctoral thesis was based on that research. So not only is his entire career and his funding and grants and everything else dependent on DHS money, on government money, his doctorate was built on that. Now, and by the way, factual. You can go look this stuff up. Let's see. Why are state-backed researchers playing defense for websites full of terrorists, murderers, and pedophiles, and a couple of incels probably? Continued below. Okay, we can keep going. Oh, here we go. Once fresh meat arrives, Lamarca. Okay, so this is her talking about the incel.co site. Okay, let me keep going. I'll back up a little bit here. I've got some other stuff to read to you as well. This is really what happened with the incel dust up. That's why I'm on that list somehow. But then we've also got big name accounts like Chris Williamson recruiting for these guys. We got big name accounts like Tim Pool pushing this stuff, like quoting this and popping off with it on his shows and everything else. It is bad data by bad actors. NGOs, like watchdog NGOs like Light Upon Light, need a boogeyman. And if there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. Same thing with CCDH. They needed a boogeyman. Who? Andrew Tate. Hey, we took his scalp. Wow, it seems like Dr. Phil will be the perfect opportunity for us to make that claim to God knows what, 2.5 million, I think was the audience that for the show I was on with him. 2.5 million, that sounds good. Maybe that will be enough for people to actually like donate to the CCDH, and we can continue getting funded and grant money from the DHS. Now, where did all this DHS stuff come from? I'm going to get into that in a little bit more detail in an upcoming show. I'm going to just do a straight up recorded show for this. But really what it comes down to is that there were watchdog NGOs that were created right around like the Bush administration, right after 9/11. And it was really supposed to look for sort of, it's like sleeper cell, like Al-Qaeda and ISIS and stuff like that. And soon it became like big business. And I think I might have the thing up here. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Anyways, that's something I'll save for the next show. But there's a site, there's a vicious, I'm going to just describe it to you. There's a cycle. And what happens is because we go through, okay, now it's not ISIS and it's not Al-Qaeda anymore. Okay, now it's white nationalism. Now it's these white supremacist groups. And now those guys are not in vogue. Who else can we get? And who's easier to get to? What's low-hanging fruit? Incels. If we can make people afraid of incels. And by the way, I have already shown you guys the data for what even the DHS says is the population of incels in the United States, which is about 100,000, which accounts for 0.007% of the population. But we're going to make this an endemic. We're going to make this so important that we're going to spend $700,000 just to go to Light Upon Light, for that matter, so that they can imply Rollo Tomasi or Pearl, for that. God forbid. Sorry, Pearl. I guess I got some on you. But the entire thing. The entire thing. So, that said, why is she going to sue my ass off? For what? For what? Tell me what, smart ass. You know what? I'll even leave you on there for a second. For what? Oh, that was a good one. Okay. Let's see. What does real men do this and have these traits from Blue Pill Feminist? Seeing comments from the clip Jay Waller and Lila Rose on whatever podcast stating real men have sexual discipline. How to argue against this? Okay. Let me get that. Somebody's got to be the boogeyman. Yeah. Incels happen to be that. And here it is. This is a smoking gun. Sorry. This is where it's at. NGOs like watchdog NGOs are big business. And if you can form, and by the way, that Light Upon Light, that organization. Oh, there's another one. There's another one like Combating Hate or some shit like that. Like these NGOs haven't even existed more than like a couple of years. And so they have to prove that they're actually doing something. How do we do that? Well, we make this big, long, year-end report. How we spent your money. how we used your money. I just lost one of my lights. Sorry. And that's they have to show progress. They, hey, look busy. We got to do something about this. Last but not least, let me get onto this. What does real men do this? Okay. So there's two things to think about in this. First of all, there's the Lila Rose, Justin Waller thing. Real men do X is the manhood medal, the masculinity medal. Real men do whatever that ideological practice happens to be. And so the reason why that's effective is because nobody knows what masculinity is anymore. We have so successfully made masculinity toxic, or we've made it something that is subjective. And so when you got guys like going on, like I remember when Justin Waller went on this show on, I think it was on Vice. Was it Vice or was it Jubilee? One of those shows. And he's sitting there with these guys who are just these really weesh kind of like, fey effeminate guys. And every one of those guys define masculinity as something that's just like particular and subjective to them. Well, I'm a guy, I have a penis, and so this is what masculinity means to me. I'm living my truth, right? Which is basically emotionalism, a language. It's the language of emotionalism, taught to those guys by a gynocentric social order that knows that it is better for men to question what is masculine and what is not, to be either confused about it or to self-loathe, to hate their masculinity. To decide that it's like all masculinity is toxic, except for the stuff that we say. So that's where you get this. Tradcons will do this. You'll get even wokesies, even the leftist progressives will do the same thing. A real man does X. Real man does X is usually whatever ideological practice that person wants to endorse. So a real man marries a woman who is not the father of his kids, or like that one video I showed you not too earlier ago was if a real man steps up. He's not the stepdad. He's the dad who stepped up. That's a real man. Even though it goes against his like everything in his biological interests, that's what a real man does. Anything that serves a female imperative is what a quote unquote real man does. Okay, that's the social conventions about that. Number two, you asked about this. What was it? Jay Waller and Lila Rose, whatever podcast. Real men have sexual discipline. Okay, well, that's the ideological practice. Okay, so a real man. What's a real man? See, it's based on this principle that a real man should prioritize the imperatives of women before his own imperatives. And the problem with that is that the guys that do that end up become destiny. they become the guys that women don't want to fuck. Women want a man who is on his purpose. They don't want a man to cheat, but they love a man who could cheat. The guy who could cheat is the guy who prioritizes his own interest before that of a woman. His mission, his determination, his mental point of origin is himself. That's it. Not, oh, what's my wife going to think? Oh, what's my mom going to think? Oh, what's my future girlfriend going to think if I make these choices right now? Making anything outside yourself your mental point of origin, right? That's the beginning of this. And I'm glad you brought this up because I had this discussion with Justin right after that. Like he and I had a really long discussion about this. And I said, look, why is her reality the operative here? Why is, and I try to put this in broader terms. And in fact, I think he read my book, Religion, as a result of this because I cover it in great detail. Why is it that a guy who's like Justin Waller, who is in that 4.5%, who can have sexual selectivity, why would he not do that? Why would he not have a baby mama, couple of kids, have a wife, whatever, and be able to fuck other women on the side? I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. This is not a judgment call. I'm just saying, what's the incentive? And that leads me to believe that the only reason someone like Lila Rose is trying to like scold him for doing that is because she's trying to force him back into the feminine reality, into the gynocentric social order, into what in a moralistic sense. Why does her or womankind's priorities supersede men's priorities? Why wouldn't he? How come the correct answer isn't, why aren't you on board with this? This is the way we ought to do it. This is the way things worked out. This is my operative. How come you're not on board with me being, closed on my end and open on my end and closed on her end? Why no one questions that. They think that by fulfilling women's life plans, by fulfilling hypergamy, by fulfilling women's, the long game, by fulfilling all that and being like, oh, you owe women a better life, so you better show some sexual control. Why is that? Because it only serves a female imperative. It only serves her imperative. So why is that? Like that's what I told Justin at the time, and I will tell you right now, is the question needs to be, why is that the operative? Why is that the norm? Why is it that a female experience defines the male experience? And ask those questions. And I will tell you right now, someone with an IQ of Lila Rose and in a tradcon sense will not have an answer to that. They won't know. And the reason why they're frustrated with it, and the reason why it's an issue in the first place, and why people go, oh, yes, Lila, good, you called him to the carpet. The reason why they do that is because they're stuck in a 20th century way of thinking about intersexual dynamics. They think, trust me, conservatives are some of the biggest feminists you will ever know. They just don't even know. They just don't call themselves that. They are all feminine primary. They're all focused on the feminine imperative. And Dark Knight. My favorite movie scene is Beverly Hills Cop. Club scene. Axel Foley proves to Taggart and Rosewood to be serious, smart, funny, and an imposter. What media shows men earning trust and respect? Not very many. I have been watching. Okay, we're at the end here. I've been watching Monarch because I wanted to see monsters. I want kaiju. I don't want fucking teary-eyed teenagers. The fuck is that all about? I thought Kurt Russell would at least like lend some star quality to this show. It's like, it's supposed to be about Godzilla. It's supposed to be about monsters. It's supposed to be about Ghidorah. Monster Zero. Let them fight. But Monarch, the legacy of monsters is really the legacy of Weesh is what it is. But here we are, episode 4 or 5, I think. And we've already established the unnecessarily homosexual character, the one of the girls in there. We have the bold, sassy, and masculine black female that's in there. And we have the Weesh guy who is just this side of Hikikomori. And you've got also established, and I'm going to ruin this for you, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this. Then you've got the old grizzled guy who knows everything, which is Kurt Russell's. He's there to just sort of move the plot along. And then you've got the two women who run the clandestine Monarch, who are the higher ups, who are tough bitches, who get shit done. And then you have the other white male who's just basically incompetent, trying to learn how to be more competent. And then you've got, let's not forget the two characters have a common father. So there's a half sister and a half brother. The half sister is the needlessly homosexual girl, and the father, of course, was banging a woman in Japan and banging a woman in the United States, and they finally figured out, oh, dad was a philanderer. So there you go, bad daddy, got that. Okay, we cleared out all of those archetypes. Can we now get back to the fucking monsters? Can we please see, I don't know, Gamera fight Rodan? Because that's what I'm here for. Can I please see some shit? Can we see some heavy ass shit? They would started out really, really good, but it's the same fucking thing. It's the same, like I was saying on the last show, it's like which of these actors are, it's in the new Alien series that's supposed to be coming out. You know, which one is the main character, which is the bad guy, which is the needlessly homosexual, which is basically that's the whole thing. It's the same show over and over and over again because it can't fill an 8-episode series on Netflix that really should be told in like 4 episodes. I just want to say it was very cool of you to extend an olive branch to Destiny, and it's still there. And Steven Crowder, after their divorces, by the way, Crowder still out there. Every man. Crowder will answer me before. Every man needs to help after they get through the divorce machine. Okay, and thank you for that, because I'm going to end on this. This is why I'm conflicted, because I don't want to see another guy put a noose around his neck, even Destiny. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to see a guy, off himself because of his ego investments in this social construction blue pill bullshit. The reason why we have the reason why everybody's taking, you just see TradCons taking a victory lap on this right now is because they think that this is like proof positive. Even Jesse Lee Peterson was right. He told them that their whole relationship was going to lead to destruction, and sorry, Jesse, that's amazing. He was right. So a lot of people, I've called it. A lot of other people called it too. So I'm not trying to take a victory lap here, but the thing is everybody's going to see this as some sort of occasion or opportunity to sort of pop off about how self-righteous that they really were. And those are the people to watch for. The other people to watch for are Destiny's Angels right now. Got here. I worked in intelligence. It was bad when I left. Nothing really intellectual, but here is to going on the list of funding terrorism. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say, I felt like I won an award. Why? Anybody going to tell me why? Please. Yeah, she is a liar. Oh, would you like me to prove that? I've already posted the pictures on. Actually, I can't because there's nudity in some of them. I posted them on Instagram. Yes, she is a liar, and I'll explain to you why. If you guys want to know why, hit me up on Instagram on Twitter, Twix. Yeah, I've already proven it, dude. I've proven it like 3 or 4 times now. Thank you very much. Anyways, I know you're just trolling. But so again, I don't want to see anyone, even my worst enemies, even the people who like have tried to literally try to get me put in jail for manufacturing shit against me. I still don't want to see them go. I don't want to see them put a gun to their head. And if I can help, I will. And I don't know if that can happen with a guy with an ego like Destiny's, but and I know he'll watch this, so I'm just going to say it anyways. It's like, if you need anything, man, if you want to talk about this, I'm here. I can also put you in touch with Jim Sexton. And I know we're like, fucking around on this show, but seriously, like, I would rather do that than see you off yourself. Good enemies are hard to find. I would rather do that than see you see anyone do that. I don't want to see self-deletion one more self-deletion. Half the reason I'm doing the 45 to 65 thing with MOA right now is because of this, because that's a prime demographic. And guys who are zeroed out after marriage are 8 times more likely to take their own lives. I don't want to see that happen. That's why I'm conflicted, because it's like, I really fucked me over from, May or June to August. And I mean, in a way that was really tempting to fuck with my life. But even after that, I would be like, okay, I don't want to see, off yourself. So just know that it's out there. And I know maybe it's like humble pie or, eating crow or whatever you want to call it. But like, don't think of it in those terms. If you need if you need a red pill advice of something, I think he already knows this, but whatever. I know. It's hard. It's tough, man. It's tough to do that, because it's like, you want to crush your enemies and see them driven before you, right? But I don't want to see anybody off. That's for stupid shit, right? Like I'm more put off by the kid that like gunned him like with the shotgun at Hunter Avallone's place. I'm more put off by that than this. So, anyways, that's good. Anyways, I think we're done. I really wanted to get into Chris Williamson and a Louise Perry, but I think I'm gonna have to save that I think I'm gonna do a Wednesday show, because I really have so much more to do, and I've got to go down and take care of Ned right now. So that's why if I'm doing shorter shows, that's why, because I have to go. I'm the only one in the house that can lift Ned. I'm like a forklift right now. And by the way, Ned is 73. He's putting on more weight. He's 73 pounds, and I have to pick him up, and it's deadlifting. I have to deadlift Ned probably 12 times, like a dozen times a day. And at nighttime, because I have to bring him upstairs so he can sleep with us, bring him upstairs and bring him downstairs too. Jesus. Anyways, so that's it. Anyways, if you guys want to make a donation or anything like that for Ned, you can always look at the Patreon stuff and the if you want to join the group, fine. MOA. Please join Men of Action. It's the next link down. If you haven't picked up my books, if you still haven't read my books after 10 years, please do so now, because the first one is going to become a collector's item very soon. So please go pick that up, because I got the hardback version of the revised edition is coming out quick. But if you want to go pick up the soft cover one, you can do that now. Also, I'm thinking about making hardcovers for all of them, so I can get them in a collectible set of some sort. So that's coming out too. Maxims is coming along nicely. And that's about it for me, guys. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys I'm just going to say Wednesday. I think maybe I'll do a show on Wednesday. Oh, by the way, another thing on Wednesday, I will be doing Masculine Geek on Wednesday. So if you want to see me be a dungeon master playing Dungeons and Dragons with these guys, and we're not talking about Red Pill, but it's funny as hell because we're all Red Pill guys playing this game. So anyways, that's my thing. That's what I'm going with. I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Much appreciated.
to feel you on top of me.
How dare you?
It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What'd you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by and went over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now, let go. Bound to keep me up all night.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Best in my life. Oh, those guys are fucked. Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up every wall while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't
She
it
was
nasty?
swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and slipping with her hair. Like she's calling you Kelly.
Well, I'm a whore.
Run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting messy. Working up and down on your body. Run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. Maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
This Sitting Podcast has been a production of The Rational Male. All rights reserved. Registered trademark 2023. Don't steal Ned stuff.
Every time a man's being nice to you, all he's doing is offering dick.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
And maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? And maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Best in my life.
Tell that bitch to be cool. Say bitch, be cool. Be cool, honey. Say bitch, be cool.